Did you like those Australian commercials? My favorite was the absolutely, and I mean absolutely, insane ad for Marie Claire. Probably one of the craziest ads I've seen in my life. Smebble, I'm sorry your hot water furnace exploded. Are you okay? I don't think I mentioned this before, but when I was in like, what was it, 4th grade or so, the hot water exploded in our cafeteria, and we had to like, we didn't have a cafeteria for a year. It was really interesting. Anyways, why did I say that? No one got injured in the explosion, but it was very interesting. Also, to Smebble, thank you so very much for the 10-month resub. Good day. Is this a sex and drug place? It is. Oh boy. Hi everybody. Sorry, I'm still obsessing about that Marie Claire commercial. Okay, I'm fine. I think I'm fine now. Your foot got hotted. I'm so sorry. Oh, man. Well, we're dedicating Interactive Entertainment 17 to Smebble's foot, because it happens. I'm so sorry. That sucks, man. All right. But we should get started here. I want to thank everyone for showing up, everyone for watching, because today we're going to go through Interactive Entertainment 17. I'm going to try to hop on through this one. But first, you know what time it is. We all know what time it is. Bleak Soup time, baby! All right, today's Bleak Soup is by Bubbler. It's Pitaya Berry Nectar. Now, I've had them before. I've had the Bubbler Tropical Dreamer. They drop their E's or A's. They just drop words. I don't know. I actually kind of like Bubbler. It's actually really cheap. It's like $1.50, and it doesn't taste bad. And it has caffeine, but only like 70 grams, which is pretty good. So yeah, it's also 5 calories per can, but it doesn't taste like shit. IMHO. So I'm gonna try their pitaya, pitaya. I don't know how you pronounce it. It's dragon fruit, essentially. Yeah, it's sparkling water. Okay, here we go. We're opening it up. Wow, that's loud. Okay, and yeah, the thing is, I bought it thinking, haha, this is gonna be a stupid treat. And then I had it, and I was like, oh, this is good. This sucks. So yeah, I don't know if this will be good or not, but every one of theirs I've had so far I've liked. So let's try this. Okay. Is this dragon fruit I'm tasting? Oh, it's pitaya. Great. Thank you, Mikey. Okay. We are not... okay, I'm going to try another sip. So here's the thing. Do you ever like something, but you're like, no one else is going to like this because I have stupid taste? That's how I feel about this. I like it. It tastes a lot like sugar-free candy, so if you like that taste. I don't think it tastes like dragon fruit, but it does taste like a nice, sweet, sugar-free drink. So if you like sugar-free drinks, I recommend this. If you don't like sugar-free drinks, please God, don't try the Bubblers. You will despise them. And this is really stupid, but one thing I like about Bubbler compared to other energy drinks is that instead of giving you 2,000% of like vitamin A and stuff, it's only like your daily allotment. It's only like 50%. So it's got B vitamins, but it's not like a billion grams of B vitamins. It's only like 1.2. So I recommend it if you're sick of all those energy drinks that contain like 1 billion% B vitamins. All right, let's go. The drink, not so bad this time. But what about the issue? Oh no! It changed shape! Oh, I know what I need to do. Hold on. Window. Oh, that's not it. That's way too small. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. How does it compare to the heart-stopping lemonade? It's so much better. It's so much nicer. It's not like a billion. It's not like a billion zillion grams of caffeine. It's so nice. All right. It is time for Interactive Entertainment 17. Let's go. Let's see who they're going to make us interact with. Ooh, hold on. Just make sure audio's looking good. Good, okay. Let's go.
Sit back and relax. You're viewing episode 17 of Interactive Entertainment. This time around, join us for a ride on the AH-64D Longbow, the upcoming helicopter sim that Origin and Electronic Arts are developing with the help of Janes, the primary source for military technical information. If you like your military action closer to the ground, you've probably been waiting for Westwood Studios' Command & Conquer. Check out our review of Dune 2's Descendant. You may not immediately recognize the name, but you've probably seen actor John Rhys-Davies as a lovable rogue on the big screen and the tube. He talks with us about the effect that computer games are having on his career. And we take on a tough task in this month's company profile, a behind-the-scenes look at strategy giant Microprose. All this and much, much more in episode 17 of IE.
All right. Oh, excuse me. Hello. Let's check out this issue. Hey, Super Ink Burst. Hey, Magnificent Scoops, Dark Witch Claire, Lolo, Neo, Juan, Mikey, everybody. Welcome to the show. All right, what's featured here? Actually, no, we know it's first. First, I have to read the letters to the editor. Scratching Way, thank you for the 20-month resub. Macro Pros, ha. All right, letters to the editor. Chad, I'm in hell. Heeding your request for more mail, even though you published 2 letters from me already, I blush with gratitude. I'm not crazy about the sound quality lately, especially the inserted phone interviews with various programmers and designers. The inconsistent volume levels, high amount of hiss and distortion, it's all very irritating. I realize you don't have the facilities to digitally remaster the sound, but if you could at least avoid taping people over the phone, there's usually some kind of whirring in the background, reminiscent of traffic reports from a helicopter, it would help. That's what I've been saying. It sounds like you're in the traffic report. Well, it's great to hear from the horse's mouth. Some of these guys tend to sound more like the other end. Oh, okay. That's right. Microprose, you sound like a horse's anus. You may edit out ums and ers, but what's left isn't always timeless prose. Is nothing but pain. I'd rather hear smaller samples with more solid verbalization by the stentorian voices you employ in your pursuit of entertainment excellence. Sometimes there's this chopping, whirring noise on some of these phone interviews, like you taped them from a traffic watch helicopter. And let me add a vote for shareware versus patches. Try rotating them. Patches on even-numbered issue and shareware on odd numbers. Thanks for being there and keep up the good work, RS. Ha! At last somebody has complained about something and I can say it's already fixed. We think we figured out that our digital phone lines were causing the low voice volume and annoying background noise that has plagued our telephone interviews. We've now got an interview station set up with an analog phone line that gives us a much clearer signal. This is good because there's no way we'd stop doing phone interviews. We'd like giving info to people from the horse's mouth, as you put it, much more than rehashing what they tell us. And since no other magazine can give it to you, excuse me, Interactive Entertainment. As for patches/shareware, alternating discs doesn't sound like too bad an idea. However, we expect to have more space in the immediate future since we plan to do either a company profile or an interview, not both, each month. And we have some new staff, which should help us in getting new demos and shareware. All right. We are gods. That's what I'm always saying. First off, the required grovel. You are gods. Okay, now that that's done with, where'd that come from? Anyway, I love this CD of yours, and believe me, my subscription will continue after this one is over. You all hate me, don't you? You all feel hatred in your hearts for Alex. That's fine. That's acceptable. 1 second. Anyway, I love this CD of yours, and believe me, my subscription will continue after this one is over. I just received my copy of issue 15, and I nearly peed in my pants looking at the screenshots for Warcraft 2. And the info from the designer was almost everything I wanted to hear. Except, how are they going to do air combat? Dragons? Birds? What? They didn't say.
You pressed the wrong key. Try again.
And I was happy till I read that insulting letter to you guys. Fiona the Foxy, thank you for the 120 bits. And I was happy till I read the insulting letter to you guys. Is this goofball for real? Loser. He or she didn't even leave a name. How can you be expected to be taken seriously if you're too chicken to take the heat for something you do? Golden Kappa train, what the fuck is that? Sorry. I suppose that those problems with the games can be corrected if you're smart enough to call and get the right info, or maybe even wait a month because I'm sure you guys will correct it next time around. Personally, I don't use the free games. I just mostly get the CD for the reviews and previews, which I find help me in deciding which games to buy. You guys haven't been wrong yet. Keep up the good work. By the way, if you didn't like the CD so much, you shouldn't buy any more of them. It's like when you buy a game. If you buy it and you don't like it, then you took a chance. Win or lose. It's a gamble. Lolo de Puzzlo, thank you for the 100 Become as Gods bits. I appreciate it. Gee, I guess you like episode 15. Air support on the orc side in Warcraft 2 will be the form of goblin balloonists, first off. These should be available fairly early in the building sequence and we'll be able to travel over trees and see a long way. Later come dragons, which do the same, but will have some limitations. At the time we did our coverage, the developers were talking about maybe having them land periodically to rest or something like that. Sorry this info isn't getting into the profile, but it was very tentative at that time. The video bites that covered this area were not usable enough to include. Kindergarten Kitten, thank you for gifting a sub to Mersbun. Enjoy your sub. Good name, too. The good news is, okay, I did that. The good news is that as we close this episode, we're expecting to get a demo of Warcraft 2 shortly, so count on a comprehensive preview from gameplay in episode 18. Well, I'm glad you're with me on that guy with the attitude. It's great how overwhelming the support has been regarding that letter. I saw the guy's point, but he was just plain rude. And we've eaten enough crow about goofing up the copy protection on episodes 11 and 12 to put up with that degree of rudeness. P.S. Yes, in fact, we'd have a website already. Except MCI goofed on us. And then our web programmer quit, God willing. It should be up by the time you view this episode, or maybe shortly thereafter, or sometime in 96, or maybe never. But, there, now you know everything I do. An all too casual complaint. La la ho! I'm writing because you seem to be so short on letters. It really would mean quite a bit to me if you put this into your dandy little publication. It's a wondrous thing, the CD-ROM, isn't it? I'm planning on subscribing to your mag soon. My mom just doesn't seem to understand that we'll be saving $40 with a subscription. Anyway, I wanted to say that your mag just keeps getting better. The reviews are often extremely funny. The Flight Unlimited one was good, but there was one more that I liked even more. Pity, I can't remember it. Thank you for the 100 Jester Bits, Tepid Snake. Thank you. We're almost at the Kappa train. But it was by some French guys, and it appeared in a 14 or 15. Also, that interview with Peter Molyneux, did I spell that right? You didn't, but that's okay, was hilarious. It was the first of your interviews that I really enjoyed, and maybe because of my fondness for Peter and Bullfrog, but I don't know. Well, that's about all. Keep up the good work. Oh, yeah, I thought your review of Celtic Tales was unfair.
Always cover the system component.
Thank you. Thank you, Fiona, for the 330 max 24-hour scam train. We're scamming as much as we can. I happen to like the damned little game. I sort of enjoy doing the same thing over and over. Ah, well, Kupo! Well, far be it from me to disappoint a fan. Here's your letter. I'm glad you're in the 51% of people who find our stuff funny. The other half think we're sort of insane, but like our free games as long as we give them the copy protection. Reminds me of what computer shoppers said about us. Corny, but savvy. Spelling, close enough, it's Molyneux. Celtic Tales. We were just expressing our opinion. That's what we do. And for the most part, many of our viewers agree with us, which is why they buy IE instead, or in addition to CGW, Strategy Plus, PC Gamer, CGR, or any other gaming magazines, aside from our charming and unique multimedia format, of course. You have every right to disagree with us, and if you do, by all means, write to us and express your disagreement. Take us apart point by point. I'll run that letter. Be glad to. Our job is to give people an honest assessment of products that can cost them as much as $60 to $100, and providing counter viewpoints is something we can only have more of. Unfortunately, we see literally hundreds of games each year, and that doesn't allow us months to delve into each title we get. You folks have the luxury of really spending some quality time with a game, so you may uncover things that we simply don't have time to find out. Maybe Celtic Tales was that kind of game. Then again, PC Gamers said that you'd have to have a really big brain to appreciate Celtic Tales, so I guess we feeble-minded subhumans here at IE will have to go back to scratching ourselves and picking lice out of one another's codes for fun. So there it is. If you don't agree with a review we ran, tell us, and just don't bitch about how stupid and narrow-minded we are. Tell us why you disagree. TK. Too many reruns. Well, I liked IE since issue 3, my first, and my only question is, why is it there are so many reviews or reruns from previous IE issues? I mean, take 13 and 15. There were several reruns in there. Sorry, I missed 14. I know that you were covering the Expo, but why tell me that you didn't have room for some departments when about 1/6 of the whole issue was rerun reviews and previews? I know that you probably run out of cutting-edge news, because once you've reported it, that's it. Well, except for a few updates now and then. So if you don't have enough to fill the zine, why not add a few departments? I'd love to see some animations thrown in there. How about a cartoon or two? A running series? Or a series from web surfers? How about an update every month on the latest site so I don't have to waste money in online charges to check it out if it's actually a lame site? And I'm sure if anyone would tell me the truth, it'd probably be your guys. And that's a good thing. We readers like to hear you trash some deserving fool like Mabus, or whatever the fuck it's named. I bought it and returned that stupid game. Anyway, for the most part, I really like IE comments. RN. Rerun reviews, not to the best of my knowledge. Maybe you're confused about our article format. See, we often do 1 or 2 previews of a game. Previews are not meant to be subjective. They look at a work in progress. Once the game gets released, we review it. That's our chance to rip it to often our unbiased opinion about the thing. A web browser's column sounds like a great idea. Not that we've got anybody here who does enough web surfing to write about such a thing. Maybe only 10 or 12 of us. TK. Thanks for the new package. Not! Your packaging engineer. Whoever designed the package for interactive entertainment should try to open the fucking package once in a while. I have some arthritis in my hands and could not rip the cardboard holding the CD in place, so I used a sharp knife to cut the cardboard. You guessed it. One screwed up the CD. Peeved, to say the least. RS, the internet. The Kenster, thank you for the sub. Appreciated. Sorry you had so much trouble. Unfortunately, we didn't take into account things like arthritis when we designed our package. A pretty common problem with consumer products, don't you think? My mom gets in her wrists and hands sometimes, and she has a tough time with Tylenol bottles. In the spirit of Apollo 13, here's how to open the newsstand packaging without flexing your fingers. First, be sure you get a package where the disc is centered correctly. Occasionally, they get off-center, which causes them to stick to the glue strips. Ew, used to hold the package closed. A disc is centered correctly if, when you stick something into the hub, oh, I got a hype chest. Congratulations on my hype chest. Cool. When you stick something in the hub, a finger, a pencil, you can wiggle it around just a bit. Hold the package lengthwise, squeeze between the heels of your hands with the disc facing up, i.e. the top of the package. Should press into the palm of one hand, the bottom into the other palm, holding the package firmly centered over the arm of a chair. The narrower the arm, the better. The edge of the arm should cross between the top of the disc. Bend the package over the arm of the chair. This should cause the top of the disc to pop out of the die-cut hole in the front of the package. Repeat this procedure while holding the sides of the package. To free one side of the disc, at this point you should be able to slide the disc free with one finger. Try to avoid touching the underside of the disc. This can damage the data. You may be interested to know that we are planning to redesign our newsstand package so that A, it's easier to use, and B, it will hold the disc once it's opened. In the meantime, call our tech support at 802-767-1226 and they will tell you how to get your disc replaced. TK. Yeah, what the fuck are we doing here, man? Excuse me. How many? How about that PC gamer? You guys seem to have a lot of fun with the Balor of the Evil Eye review in issue 15. I certainly enjoyed listening to your dissection of its flaws, and I took your review as a red flag warning about wasting my money on this game. However, as I was glancing through this month's PC Gamer to newsstand, I was surprised to see the game got a very good review. Intrigued by the 87% rating, I actually read the review, though I have unfailing loyalty to IE, and was taken aback at the sentence saying that you need to have a really big brain to glean this truly entertaining title. Ooh, what could be said for Sigmund, I wonder? Yeah, I read the review too. Roful. I mean, come on, I don't normally like to diss the other magazines beyond a little lighthearted ribbing, but that was pathetic. If you don't like this game, you just don't get it? Yeah, right. Celtic Tales is a more entertaining game than Johnny Mnemonic? I don't think so. TK. Sorry, I'm looking for an argument. First of all, great magazine, guys. I tried the other CD magazines after I had the good fortune to discover yours, but none can measure up. I have a question that you could answer. I sent a letter to Computer Gaming World 4 months ago and never got a response. Is there going to be a sequel to Relentless? If not, do you know if Adeline will be making any more games of that style? I was tempted to write a really obnoxious, insulting letter, even though I have no problem with the magazine, just to read the editor's response, but I don't have to do that, so could you insult me a little anyways? Thanks! Masochistically yours, T.E. Fairbanks, Alaska. Vile slimewad who is not fit to lick the soles of my muck-ridden shoe. To answer your moronic question about Adeline and Relentless, I called EA. The answer was, in words of one syllable or less, so you can understand them, that Relentless was pretty commercially successful. That meant it sold well, you big loser head. And they are discussing a possible sequel. Personally, I'd bet on it. So would you if you had a clue. The game's sharp SVGA graphics, simple interface, and funky gameplay were a hit with everyone I talked to who played it, including you apparently, so maybe you're not such a mutant after all, which is usually a good yardstick to determining whether a title will be sequelized. As for the rest, I just couldn't work up a sufficiently venomous head of steed, you wretched, putrid, stinking pile of pus. So I asked my coworkers for some good insults. The best ones were, you know, even though you live well past the middle of nowhere, I think I've heard of you, and what I've heard hasn't been pleasant. Your hard drive is getting soft, your random access memory is becoming predictable, and your mouse acts more like a gerbil. On top of all that, even though I haven't actually seen you, I have a sneaking suspicion that you're ugly and your mother dresses you funny. Thanks for watching, IE. You dick fucking ass sucking mama's boy. If I had any sense, you would almost be half stupid. Smash / spank. Thank you, Seraphis Kane, for the 50 bits. You guys usually have to pay for this kind of humiliation. This guy's getting it for free. Well, that's what I like to call the subtle approach. P.S. Your mama wears combat boots and likes Mabas, too. Okay, Star Trek The Next Generation, final Unity tips. Final Unity tips. Hey! First of all, I'd like to tell you that your CDs rule! I'd like to ask you something. Will you have hints and tips for Star Trek The Next Generation of Final Unity anytime soon? LD, Flushing, New York. Hey! Yes, we will! Look for them to start in, probably, fingers crossed, episode 18. TK. I want to be a game designer. Kid, no you don't. Run. Run, don't. Walk, run. 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 Dear editor, I have mastered some of the more simple programming languages, Logo, GW Basic, Q Basic, and Batch programming. And I am interested in taking a few more steps and trying to create a Myst-style game. I wrote a letter to Computer Live asking them for help, and they suggested that I buy Visual Basic for $99. Their first mistake was giving me the wrong phone number to contact Microsoft. So I finally reached Microsoft, and Visual Basic 4.0 isn't coming out for another couple of months. And it will cost more than $99. Specific stuff about your game omitted. Don't want to give your secrets away, dude. TK. Could you help us? It seems to me that making a game would be a lot like making a CD mag. Any help would be greatly appreciated. Always happy to help a fellow Vermonter. Putting together a game is exactly like doing a CD mag, and it's completely different at the same time. I've never actually written a computer game that's been published, but I'll offer some suggestions I can. It seems like you're willing to figure out the writing the game part yourself. What you're looking for is a programming tool that has more oomph than the ones you already know. I'll take this opportunity to plug one of my favorite products, Delphi 1.0 from Borland. Delphi is an object-oriented programming environment which makes it really easy to build user interfaces. Everything is built around forms to create a new project, create a blank form, drop the controls on it you want to use, set their properties, and away you go. It already contains controls for making media clips, so for a multimedia product, you don't even need to figure out how to code that kind of stuff. It's all built in. It also has pretty good database support. The Object Pascal language it uses is very easy to learn. I taught it to myself in a couple of months using only the manuals, online help, and minimal assistance from a couple of reference books and the Delphi forum on CompuServe. Best of all, Delphi code is compiled rather than interpreted, so it's faster and you don't have to ship a .dll with your application. The only drawback in your case is the price. Right now, Delphi retails for $199.95. It can usually be found in mail order for about $179. If you're a student, however, you can get it through your school for $89. Beyond that, I'd recommend lurking in the Game Developers Forum on CompuServe. Some other things you may want to check out in the future include the Microsoft Game SDK, which includes tools for fast graphics under Windows 95, sound, control input, and multimedia interfacing, and 3D APIs being developed by Intel and other third parties. The letter contains code which you can call from your applications to render a 3D setting. From a very warped viewer. Dear publishing geniuses at IE, I have been a subscriber since episode 9. I have always been pleased with your coverage, clarity, and unrivaled reviews. I don't know how you can do it, but $5 an issue is a bargain. Really? It was only $5? And that's a pretty good price. I was happy enough with $10 at newsstands, but enough about that. Now to tell you why I'm writing. I'm writing to discourage all you gamers who have looked at purchasing OS2 Warp. I recently purchased OS2 Warp thinking it would drastically improve my computer's performance. I should call it OS2 Reverse Impulse. I spent 2 days installing it, in the process of which it deletes all the files on your hard drive, but can only ask you to make backups of all your files. Now, for a person like myself, I can't back up a 688 megabyte hard drive onto diskettes. It's just not done. Then after you install it, you have to reinstall DOS, Windows, and the programs you used to have. Even then, it never ran Windows or DOS right. If you want to run DOS in a window, it's not MS-DOS, it's OS2's DOS, which doesn't have your config.sys or autoexec.bat. If you want MS-DOS, you have to totally reboot your computer. It's crazy! Anyway, I hope I have somewhat discourage some gamers, but I feel sorry for the ones like me who had to learn the hard way. BP. Publishing geniuses. Wow, I'm going to my boss right now and asking for a wet raise. And let me just say, thanks for thrashing IBM instead of us for a change. We could use the break. My understanding of OS2, and keep in mind I've never used it beyond playing with it a little at some trade shows, is that it is a powerful, flexible OS that requires some heavy tinkering to install and configure properly. If you're not willing or able to invest some time into making it run, you're probably not going to get much out of it. As far as the DOS thing goes, I believe there are properties you can assign to a DOS session to set up the available memory, install devices, etc. Personally, if IBM had delivered OS2 for the PowerPC 6 months ago, that's what I would have bought. I just hate to give Microsoft and Intel any more of my money. Unfortunately, I wasn't there, so I now own a Pentium running Windows 95. And let me add that having used Win 95, I wouldn't consider moving to any other OS. It's all I use these days. Well, I have to deal with a little Unix, but it's under protest. Our resident OS2 maven, Jim from Tech Support, says, I don't have much to say about OS2 improving your computer's performance. It runs pretty well on my machine. Maybe you should talk to IBM about making sure your system is set up correctly. Windows and DOS don't run too well either if your system is not configured correctly. I have never had OS2 delete files during installation. Did you set up OS2 using Boot Manager? If so, then maybe you used fdisk to repartition your hard drive. Once you do this, you have to reformat your hard drive just like DOS. I installed OS2 with Windows and DOS already installed. It set up Windows along with its groups and put them on my OS2 desktop. Windows programs do run a little slower when using them through OS2, but DOS programs run great. I can create an icon for games like Falcon and Doom, and they run just as fast as in DOS. Did I mention that I have a 486DX266 TK? A very bad experience with IE. Dear IE. We recently bought a multimedia PC. I had heard how great Myst is, and the PC came loaded with Descent, which my son loves. So I was very pleased to see your August Strategy Plus with hints for Descent and a Myst demo on the CD. When we got home and removed the CD, I was concerned because the back was scratched because it was not in a sleeve. It plays, but it skips and stutters in places, maybe from scratches. IE uses a cardboard sleeve. Why doesn't Strategy Plus? The Myst demo was a pain. First, even though I followed the instructions explicitly and reset certain params for my system, I had a heck of a time getting it to play. I kept getting a call to Dynalink error. With some persistence, I was able to get past the error, but then found that each of the 3 selections on the main screen bombed out with the same error. Eventually, I was able to bypass those and explore the library. I really did want to see the demo. That is why I was so persistent. I finally got in and found 2 books lying on stands that were open and revealed a blank rectangle in the right-hand page. When I clicked there, my old friend, the Dynalink error, knocked me out of the game again. Today, I discovered the MOV files on the CD and played them with the movie player. I now see where these fit into Myst, and it was trying to access these each time I got the darn Dynalink error. I was really PO'd when the MOV files that corresponded to the making of Myst box on the main screen told me that it wasn't available with this demo. How rude. I saved the worst for last. Heirs to the Throne looks like a cool game. I thought it would make up for the shit experience with the Myst demo. I used Write to call up the manual. Guess what? There was no page breaks after page 3. Okay, not a big deal. I'll repaginate the document and print it. Now I've started the game and it's password time, so I go to page X or par X, line X, word X. When I enter it, it fails. I try a couple of nearby possibilities. Still no luck. I get bounced out of the game. I try it again and again. Each time it requires a password from a different area. One turns out to be a page with 1 column of data down the middle of the page. There are no paragraphs with a second line. Bottom line, I never got into the game because the manual is not laid out so I can find the passwords. So what's the answer? Either the manual should contain page numbers or the game programmer should have a print manual option to ensure that margins, page breaks, etc. are all in the right place. How could anyone design such a complex, detailed game and then give you a manual that is not organized to make sure that you can find the passwords? Could it be that it got messed up going on the CD? I was considering subscribing, but now I'm very reluctant. The very items you tout, playable demos with great free games, are the very items we had trouble with. Dear BH, I'm sorry you had so many difficulties with one episode of IE. We usually try to spread them out over several months. To get your scratch disc replaced, contact our tech support. They may run you through a few tests to confirm that your disc is not functioning due to damage, and they then will make arrangements for your disc to be replaced. As for why Strategy Plus doesn't put their bundled IE disc in the sleeves, I don't know. You have to have somebody at Strategy Plus. The Mist demo was a pain in the butt. I just spent a good hour or so unsuccessfully trying to make it run. I'd recommend you call Broderbund Tech Support. They're open from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. As for the making a Mist thing, it was a QuickTime movie which was something like 500 or 80 megabytes inside, so in order to include it, we would have had to whack 6 or 10 articles, something that we're loath to do unless somebody pays us. Finally, the essence of what happened with the Heirs to the Throne copy protection is that QQP gave us a copy of the manual, which we assumed, incorrectly as it turned out, was formatted in a way that would allow you to bypass the copy protection. We have since made up a sheet with all of the copy protection questions on it, which you should have in your hot little hands, having been sent out by our tech support crew by the time you read this. I recommend giving the game a try. It's kind of ugly and the manual is unintelligible, but the game itself is fun. Kind of like Risk without the 40 kabillion setup options. I hope you're still considering subscribing and haven't been turned off by catching us on a bad day. We're not usually quite so messed up, honest. Ask anybody. Well, almost anybody. Okay, I admit it. They're a highly trained PR flacks programmed to flog IE to anyone who passes within 4 feet of them. Whew, I'm so glad I got that out of my system. TK. One second. You got 2 letters left. I can't keep up the voice, but I can do these 2 letters. One man's fantasy. Oh boy. I like the back and forth reviews with the 2 reviewers. They are so much better than the plain reviews. If I wanted plain reviews, I'd buy static paper magazines. Could you show me a picture of the woman reviewer? She has a great voice. I picture that she looks like Sandra Bullock. Does she? If she doesn't, lie to me, okay? DJ. P.S. What about software demos or full games with an educational aspect for younger IE fans? Yeah, like my son, 4 years old. Well, DJ, I like them too. That's why we keep doing them. Actually, we don't have any pictures of her that we can run, sorry. But you know, it's funny that you should ask, but she looks exactly like Sandra Bullock. In fact, I look just like Brad Pitt, and our managing editor bears a striking resemblance to Harrison Ford. Honestly, don't you feel that you're revealing a bit more about yourself than you might want thousands and thousands of people to know? Read demos of kids' games? Okay, what about them? Seriously, we don't really target that audience very much, so it's hard to get educational software companies to put their demos on IE. Ideally, I'd like to do a separate CD mag on educational reference and other general multimedia software, but there are no plans in the works as of yet. I need a sip of the fucking dragon fruit. Hold on. Direct from the mouth of God. Hello there. The first Mac I purchased was episode 12 in July. The only reason I bought it was because it had the Command & Conquer preview at the time of purchase. I really wished it was worth the $10, and guess what? It was! Let me give you some advice on how to enhance your CD mag. First of all, there should be motion video on every preview and review. Take about 30 seconds to show the video without having to listen to your commentators chatting over it, and at the same time, trying to listen to how the game sounds. Second of all, let your commentators express their feelings about the game more openly. Some foul language is always a plus when it comes to humor and rating the game. Well, besides these points, I must say that your mag is pretty cool. A little expensive, but still cool. I don't plan to subscribe to your CD mag in the near future, but hey, if you guys are willing to publish this letter to one of your CD mags, then maybe I will subscribe. The dude, the man, I am God. Caution, do not publish this code. Caution. 71111 version 1.0. Okay. Dear God, first off, I published your letter, so pick up the check. Get yourself a pen. That's $79 US payable to Interactive Entertainment. Get the address off the inside of the flip case, envelope, stamped, flak jacket, post office. Do it right now. Okay, now that I've used up a year's worth of capital letters, first off, I liked your point about full motion video. We are constantly working to bring you better and better video of gameplay, but we're limited by some constraints. Our user base can only handle playback so well. Video eats up megadisk space. At our current compression rate, 150K a second, this being the transfer rate of a single-speed CD-ROM drive, 30 seconds of video takes up around 4.5 megabytes, which would increase articles to an average 150 to 200% of their current size. This means that given the same space allotment for articles we normally get, we would have to cut our article count to 2/3 or 1/2 what it is now, an unfriendly proposition. On the other hand, maybe half of the games we cover don't really warrant showing video. Static graphic adventures, turn-based strategy games. What we hope to do is work in more gameplay video for action games, where it is not so much how the games look, but how fast it is that determines its appeal. As for the foul language issue, we don't restrain ourselves quite as much as the other gaming mags. We're not quite as PC as them. I don't know. We have this deluded notion that games are supposed to be fun. However, we're not going to stoop to gratuitously using vulgarity to get a cheap laugh. Young people may find it amusing, but our older viewers are bound to be turned off by the stupidity of it. And believe me, it gets old quickly. Anyone seen Dice Clay anywhere recently? I thought so. Besides, some of our viewers are younger or have younger children, and I'm sure their parents would prefer that they learn their colorful metaphors from Beavis and Butthead or at school. A man, a plan, a canal, Panama. And those are the letters to the editor this month, of which there were many. Yeah, we got an Andrew Dice Clay mention. Woo! What patches we got? No patches. Fuck patches. All right. What other featured articles do we have? We got a preview. Got some previews, review. So let's go look through these. There's no sound. Is that intentional? Game? Huh. Cool.
This new radar device
Oh,
is
thank
affixed
God.
to the top of the rotors and enables the longbow to see better in combat. For example, it can now see around hills, whereas before, the radar would have shown a blind spot. If you weren't aware of this, don't worry. The Apache longbow isn't even in military service yet. The only existing models are still considered prototypes. So how can one get around all of the classified material and base a game on a piece of military hardware that barely even exists? This is where Jane's comes in. Jane's is the biggest name in military hardware and weaponry information. Origin and EA have just entered into an agreement with Jane's, which allows the designers to have access to volumes of information, as well as the weapons experts at Jane's. This gives the developers of Longbow a one-stop information center to get all accurate specifications on any vehicles, aircraft, and weapon systems featured in the game. When Longbow is released, you can be sure that the specs and performance of anything in the simulation are the same as you'd experience on the real battlefield. The structure of the game is going to be radically different from other games on the market, but there will be 4 areas of gameplay. The first area is the tutorial, which is designed to allow first-time players to load the game and use the tutorial to learn the game without using the manual. There's also an in-flight instructor that tutors and responds to the pilot's action with full digitized speech. The second area of gameplay is a single mission structure based on actual historical scenarios from Operation Just Cause in Panama and Operation Desert Storm in the Persian Gulf.
Yo,
All
Desert
terrain
Storm
has been
mentioned.
reproduced from maps and surveys, meaning that players will be seeing the same targets and landscape as the real pilots. The third area of play is set up by a random map generator. The computer will design scenarios to play, so Longbow will keep a high degree of replayability. The player can even give the game parameters to design a scenario, including size of the enemy force, the time of day, and the combat area. The fourth area of play is the campaign mission. 50 missions are set up within a storyline that unfolds as the player progresses further along the campaign. Animated cutscenes are used to tell the story, using a combination of live video and computer-generated graphics. Longbow will have branching routes, so campaigns won't be totally linear. The graphics are going to complete the Longbow package. The entire game was built from scratch in order for the designers to get the detailed texture-mapped graphics they wanted, while still maintaining the speed and performance that an aircraft like the Longbow would require. There's a lot of interest in chopper sims these days, and there's about to be a lot of competition in the genre in the near future. In order to stay ahead of the crowd, Origin is pulling no punches in its development of Longbow. They took experienced designers, gave them all the technical information they needed, and developed their own engine just for this game. Be on the lookout for Origin's AH-64D Apache Longbow to fly into stores before Christmas.
That sounds like Alex Poison. What else we got here? Command & Conquer review. Excuse me.
Are you reading this? Please acknowledge. Do you copy?
We copy. Go ahead.
Thank God. Listen, do you see that disc in front of you? The one that says Command & Conquer?
Yeah. It's a new computer game from Westwood Studios, right?
Negative. It's a direct satellite link to the battlegrounds of the 21st century, and you're in charge. So
No,
pick up
not
that
me.
mouse, mister. You heard me. Pick it up. All right, now we're making progress. Here's the situation. Meteorites containing the mineral Tiberium have fallen to Earth, mostly in third world countries. This substance has the unusual property of drawing precious metals and other valuable minerals into easily collectible nodes on the surface.
Bet that really hosed the world economy.
You got it. Now the world is pretty much divided into two factions. One side is the Global Defense Initiative, GDI. They're UN-funded, out to protect the innocent and the common good, like that. You can choose to work for GDI or for the other side. But I bet you know which side to work for, right?
That would be GDI?
Yes, he can be taught. This is your opponent, the Brotherhood of Nod.
Brotherhood of Nod?
Something funny to you, mister?
Oh no.
Good.
Let me guess, their leaders are named Winkin and Blinkin.
Oh, you're hilarious. Maybe you'd rather be looking for an interactive, lame-ass comedian simulation. I didn't think so. In that case, perhaps you'd like to know that the Brotherhood is a secret terrorist society that's existed for centuries and only just surfaced to seize control of the world's supply of Tiberium.
But that would mean?
Total global domination. You starting to get the picture here?
Okay, what do I do?
You'll be assigned a series of missions. Briefings come in different flavors, from all video to computer graphics simulations. Then you'll be shown a 3D studio rendered animation pertaining to the upcoming mission. Then you jump to this overhead view of the battlefield. You're in complete command. These are professional soldiers, and they don't say boo unless you tell them to.
How do I tell them what to do?
Simple. Click on a unit to select it. You can also click and drag a lasso around several units to select them at once. Then point to where you want them to go. The cursor changes to show the context of your action based on what you're pointing at. Most of the time, you get the green Go crosshairs, which tells the selected unit to go where you're clicking.
Okay.
When you click on an opponent, you get the red targeting crosshairs, which let you attack that opponent.
Learning all about Command & Conquer.
Oh,
It varies depending on what side you're playing. GDI missions tend to run to protecting villages, securing GDI bases, and so on. If you're playing the scum-sucking weasels from hell, you'll be asked to assassinate enemy leaders, blow up escaping civilian convoys, fun stuff like that.
and how many missions are there?
About 15 per side on the winning path, with a few additional missions you branch to if you fail. In addition to running around and blowing things up, you have to manage the construction of your base.
Okay.
You start out with a mobile construction vehicle which transforms itself into a construction yard at your command. This lets you start constructing a power plant. Construction progress is shown on the sidebar as a clock hands effect. Once the plant is complete,
No
you can
cane,
place
no
it on the
nod.
map.
Thank you for the
Since
50
you now
bits,
have
Fiona.
power, you have a few more building options, such as a Tiberium refinery and a barracks. These let you build a harvester to gather more Tiberium and infantry units. Later in the game, more buildings become available, including several types of barricades, weapons emplacements, a communications center which gives you an overhead map, and others. Now you go on and give her a try, then come and tell me what you think. Well,
I like the interface. It's nice and easy to use, and I especially like being able to select as many units as there are on screen. For the most part, my units did what I told them to. They occasionally did weird things, but I suppose that could be attributed to the need to keep me in control. If they could read my mind, I wouldn't need to do anything.
that's
True.
what the designers tell me.
I didn't like the fact that there's no fog of war effect. Basically, once you've uncovered part of the map, you
Oh,
can
yeah,
always
that-
see what's happening there. But this wasn't enough.
That's
to probably
news to
stop
me
from
is a
buying
huge
thousands of copies of it doesn't really
bad
hurt
comedian
Best
simulator.
of all, the action is fast and furious, and the cutscenes are amazing. Those two facts are an unbeatable two-pronged attack, and if you're even remotely interested in the genre, Command & Conquer is not to be missed for any reason.
Great,
Got it.
I'm glad you liked it. Now we can try it head-to-head in multiplayer mode.
Multiplayer?
Why did you zoom me out of the... Okay. So, what are the pros?
Command & Conquer features both cool graphics and hot gameplay, making it a rare beast indeed in today's industry. The install script alone is more interesting than many entire games we've seen recently.
That's news to me. Is on multiple systems. It's also a CD-ROM you can get for PC gaming. We all want to forget Dennis Miller. We really do. What are the cons of Command & Conquer?
Like Warcraft, Command & Conquer features no fog of war, which limits the range of true military tactics available. And although the streamlined interface is easier to use than those of other games of this ilk, it can occasionally be infuriating when a unit doesn't do exactly what you expect it to.
We should also try Dune 2, Warcraft, and Jagged Alliance. Done and done. All right, now it's time to hear from John Rhys Davies. Yeah, so some of the sound doesn't seem to be working this issue. That's interesting.
John Rhys Davies is
There we
best
go.
known to people who don't own computers as Indiana Jones' faithful helper Sala in Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade. Currently, he is one of a handful of Hollywood name actors who are making regular appearances in big-budget computer games. He made his multimedia debut last year as Paladin in Origins Wing Commander 3, Heart of the Tiger, and will also be appearing in Wing 4, The Price of Freedom, which will be available this holiday season. We caught up with John in the process of creating a new role for Take-Two's upcoming horror whodunit, Ripper. He'll be playing the part of Vigo Haman, one of the characters the player must consult with to learn the identity of the mysterious serial killer cutting a vicious swath through 21st century New York.
He's really a sort of rather sinister background, Sydney Greenstreet, Maltese Falcon type of character. He has certain information to give. He's got his finger in a lot of rather nasty pies.
Nasty pies.
And he may indeed know the Ripper.
Man, do not buy That's News to Me for $249.
Spin on an old story. And,
Is this not an interactive interview?
And I think
Okay.
it's very well written in terms of character and dialogue and really a major sort of step forward for the interactive game. Or certainly the game.
Ripper's a game I've played, but I've been meaning to go through a walkthrough and beat it.
It's a bit distracting having this ghastly blue or ghastly green all the time. And I think for the people working behind the camera, it must, at the end of the day, they must sort of, their eyes must be aching. What it does for the actor is strips away really the scenery and the props. And so all you have to do, all you have is the other actor. And that's rather a good thing because it actually forces you to listen. You have to take whatever character you have from the book in your imagination. Normally you walk on a film set, you're prepared, you know what you're going to do, and you walk on and suddenly the background of the scenery says,
I like it. The background behind him keeps changing, like a Zoom meeting gone wrong.
And the context helps you find the character and the scene. With this, you don't have it, so you really have to bring it yourself, to a greater or lesser extent. I feel I can't qualify as an expert. Yes, indeed. Well, you come into it because you know nothing. I know nothing about this. I know nothing about.
Yeah, Ripper has an amazing cast.
Complete magic. These clever guys here can actually build sets just in the camera that are getting increasingly convincing. You see the decks of a starship or something like that, and it's quite as good as anything that you ever saw on Star Trek, without spending the millions of dollars on building them. Sometimes you get the right artist and the right computer setup and things like that, and the right material, the right subject for them to do, then the set that they will build, I think, is probably better than what you could build without spending literally millions of dollars on it. The development of the skills that the computer imagist is able to do at the moment, and the growth in those skills. I mean, I've been involved, I suppose, now for about a year and a bit in in what people have been doing with these sort of things. And you can see every 3 months when you come back, you can see a qualitative development in the skills of manipulating the reality of the background images, the extraordinary way in which people can move and manipulate things within those things. The progress is continuous and so rapid, it's just astounding. It is almost as if they were condensing within the space of a few years the whole development of film in a way.
He got fired from Sliders because he said the writing sucked in season 2. He wasn't wrong. Sliders used to be good.
Little games that you
I used to be a real Sliders head.
Which were so primitive. The graphics were so primitive. They are out of date every time they're introduced now. Each new game, each new month brings almost a new generation of game. And the sophistication...
Yeah, I like the drop-down menus that are being messed with in the back.
The film industry itself within a very short time. Tell you what's in the future. In the future, the film industry will be fighting this industry frantically.
Oh.
It will be trying to get into it because there's
That's true.
Proportionately more money to make.
Yeah.
They will be cutting costs on their budgets in order to use some of the techniques of computer animation. And
True.
there will be a headlong clash between the newcomers and the old established things that will probably... well, never mind about that. I think as the cost of...
Bro, no, tell us more. You're right.
To sort of collateralize the thing by simply saying, okay, we've got the game, and what we're going to do now is shoot a movie to capitalize on the audience we've already made and gotten created, and we want to make the movie of the game, which will help to sell future copies of the game. We can also take scenes from the movie and put them into the film. Or we can make a television series, a pilot for a television series. For the actors, what it is, there will be a lot more work initially. But the time will rapidly come when they will be able to take all the measurements of an actor like me and buy me out. Then they will write the script like that, and they will say, okay, what's a stock actor for this? Okay, let's Reach Davis. He looks a bit too young for this, a bit too old for this. Okay, let's put another 40 pounds on him and bulk him up. Let's give him some more lines in the face and things like that. Okay, make him a slobbering idiot more than he is now. Right. Okay, do it. There won't be the actors anymore. But that will only happen for so long. Ultimately, people will say, you know what, there's something rather marvelous about seeing actors stuck on a stage in front of a live audience trying to do it properly. Though I saw Hamlet last night, and I have to tell you, I had to leave at the interval. It was so bad. Oh, Hamlet, what a falling off was there.
You'll still be able to see good and bad acting in the future, even with all this stuff going on.
Well, if we're able to tell the difference by that time, and thank God my public hasn't been able to for some time.
I wish we could have interacted with that, but that was a pretty good interview. All right, last of the features is the Micro Pros, I should say, company profile. The audio's a bit... Oh, whoa. We wanted to see that. Let's try that again. Audio, please. No. Okay. Looks good. Okay, let's learn about Across the Rhine.
The historical simulation that is dealing with armored combat set in World War II in Western Europe. So it's in dealing between the U.S. and German forces that took part in that campaign. So it's from just past D-Day, which would be in the early part of July 1944, until the closing stages of the war in the spring of 1945. It is a first-person game. You are the individual in the tank commanding from that point of view as a battalion, as a company, or as a platoon commander, depending on the level of command you have. but it is a first-person perspective. We have both a map, which is a traditional top-down view, but we also have the first-person view, which is looking out of the tank itself. So that separates the simulation from the typical top-down war game situation. The more common units on the U.S. side would be...
It just seemed like another sad case of people killing each other.
That's true.
Pershings, the tank destroyers, the Hellcat, Jacksons. On the German side, you have the Tigers, Panthers, the Mark IV, the assault guns, the tank destroyers, Jag Tiger, Jag Panther, those types. We had a documentary made for this product that's a standard hour length, making it about 40 minutes for television documentary. And it pretty much matches the product itself in that it covers the same time period that is covered in the simulation. And we're including that in with a Cross-Orion as a bonus value added. And it's a very nice documentary, and I think the consumers will enjoy that.
The consumers will enjoy that. All right, I'm going to let this play.
I'm the king
quick.
of
I'm gonna be
multimedia.
right back. But let's learn about Magic the Gathering.
Developing a game like this is very complex. And effectively what we've done is we've divided it into two component parts. We have developed the front end of the game, the portion of the game that will actually be loaded onto your computer, held on the CD-ROM in your CD-ROM drive. What Simutronics is doing is they're managing the back end, the server where in fact the game will be played. You'd be interested in the computer version, I think, because while the game is tremendously fun, I mean basically it's combat. It's one-on-one combat using both earthly and magical powers. But as you know, as anyone who is involved in combat knows, it can be difficult and complex. You've got to understand the rules. There are 1,000 different cards. Each of these cards has different powers, and when the cards interact during the course of the game,
is this online
they have an
Magic?
effect on each other, to the point where in fact the rules of the game can actually be changed by playing an individual card. The advantage of playing online is that the computer takes care of all the rules and all the scoring for you, so that you can concentrate just on enjoying yourself.
Putting Magic the Gathering into the computer was a natural fit because Magic the Gathering has so many rules that are fairly complex. And the whole game is about changing the rules of the game and interpreting how the cards work and so forth. The computer offloads a lot of that responsibility from the players and allows them to concentrate on, you know, which cards to play at what time, instead of, you know, whether or not they've got enough points of mana to do something. It takes a lot of the details out of the way of the player. It also helps interpret some of the more arcane rules. Time is like a commodity that people don't have a lot of, you know, to spare. With the computer or the online version, they're able to sit down anytime they want to, anytime they've got a free hour or two, and get online and find somebody else who wants to play Magic or trade or talk about strategies or, you know, anything they want to do. The artwork for Magic is stunning. I don't think that I've seen a product that has better artwork than Magic. We've got 1,000 high-res pieces of artwork, 640 by 480 resolution, 256 colors. It's just stunning. All of the original artwork from the Magic the Gathering card game, and we've done a significant amount of additional artwork. It's going to be a beautiful game.
All right, it's going to be beautiful. But what about Ultimate Football 95?
This is pretty much an upgrade of last year's game. We took a lot of the features that people wanted added to last year's game and added those, and some of the little things about it that people didn't like, we changed up to hopefully make it more user-friendly. We've changed the passing game in the action mode. People felt it was too hard. Before we had it where you could move the cursor around the field and throw the ball right at the cursor, and now we just have you select a receiver and throw to that receiver. To get the simulation right, it's a real pain. You want the game to simulate football realistically, but at the same time you want it to react to a person who doesn't play realistically. So that makes action mode very difficult. It also makes your AI difficult to not just try to figure out how to defend the person that's doing something intelligent, but how to defend someone who's doing something totally bizarre.
Yeah, the virtual cards?
It's basically go-kart racing without any power-ups or oil slicks or missiles or anything like that. It's basically what you'd be doing if you had gone out and purchased a little go-kart and taken it up to a track on the weekend.
Scott
has written all our basic drivers for the last 8 years for Microprose. He was doing the next 3D driver, and I've been doing a lot of the worlds and stuff from way back. So we were getting a little sick of planes. And so I said, well, okay, we went to the kart place, had fun. This weekend, I'll build you a 3D kart, and why don't you mess around with that instead of an airplane? And we started doing it, and people kept coming in and saying, gee, it looks like fun. And we started having fun. And then we met the guys who do racing karts and kind of course, threw away everything I did and started over.
You can choose between an individual race or a championship season. You can test out the track, you can qualify your car, and then you can race. So you can pretty much do whatever you want to do. If you want to jump in at the hardest level and start championship season, you can do that. If you just want to drive around your favorite track, you can do that.
Part of the concept of this game was to be a fun, fast little game, and Windows is kind of going with that. We wanted it not to be a big racing sim, something someone could sit down, play for a while, and end. And then the higher levels put enough depth that someone really wants to get down and play for a long time, they can. We started off with the concession carts, like Scott said, and we realized, we started talking to the real racers, that these things do like 100 miles an hour, and they're real exciting. And they have different levels, and the higher level is a little like NASCAR. You got to pick your gears, your stuff. And the lower level, you just jump in and you steer them. In fact, they don't even lift or put the brake on the corners. They take the corners at full speed. So it's just like, it's basically, it was ideal for a Windows fun little game.
Last but not least, we've got CivNet. I like that net is this really cool font. Chat, do you like the font that net's in? Because I really like that.
The old game used to kind of run the user. It told you what to do next. The next thing happened. And the game would just stop in the middle while it waited for you to do things. And when you have other people playing, you can't make them wait for you to finish what you're doing. And so,
all right, just adjusting my chair.
Design the game slightly and make it more responsive to everyone at the same time. So a lot of the windows that used to pop up for just a second now can pop up and they stay. For instance, the city window has been redesigned. You can look at any city at any time. It can stay visible. You can watch it. You can do updates while other people are moving. You also have the option of opening several map windows at once, and currently you can tell it to watch a particular army. You can say, I'm really worried about the Aztecs over there, so tell me anything that I can see them do. I want this map to follow them. So as soon as you've met anyone, you can talk to them at any time. AI
I'm not worried about the Aztecs, but I am worried about the Pontiac Aztec. Anyone still a fan of that?
But between humans, all bets are off.
True.
You can chat, you can send taunts, you can trade knowledge, anything. I actually think that because there will be another human at the other end, they're going to be changing the way they play the game a lot. And there are going to be a lot of secret alliances against powerful players. And
I do want to hear this guy say, gnarly, dude. Yeah, he looks like a surfer. Thank you for the bit, Seraphis Kane. All right, as Micropros,
Ooh, running a little
they
long
exist. They exist. All right, now for the fun part. Let's go to news. Oh my God, there's a lot of news here. Industry. Why is there no noise?
Looking Glass.
Hold on.
Rumor has it,
Okay.
Origin is looking into creating a series of multiplayer online role-playing games. The first one will likely be based upon their popular Ultimate role-playing series. We realize that multiplayer and online games are the wave of the future, and we definitely want to be involved, said Origin Media Relations Manager David Swafford. He also said, we have a group that's assigned to researching and seeing where we need to go with it. And that's a direct quote. Looking Glass Technologies has entered into an alliance with Viacom New Media. Viacom has taken a minor equity position within the company.
Yeah, Ultima Online is still around.
Several titles based on
It's a
properties
crazy
Viacom
deep
owns.
game.
The first of these games will be a product based on Star Trek Voyager to be released in 1996. Mindscape has teamed up with famed cartoonist Gary Trudeau to create Doonesbury Toonscapes.
Hey!
an imprint under which they will publish a series of products based on Trudeau's
I
classic
went over
Doonesbury
this.
comic strip. The first product, the Doonesbury Screensaver, has been available since August.
Hey, I use that screensaver.
Released by the end of the year, Doonesbury Flashbacks, 25 Years of Doonesbury, includes every strip ever published, cross-indexed in a variety of ways, and includes related news clippings, character biographies, a timeline, and a complete bibliography. Finally, there's the Doonesbury election game, Campaign 96, a serious political simulation.
This is a totally different. It doesn't look like this. It didn't look like this. They use a totally different
from a historical list of real people.
These, oh man, yeah, these are totally different interface than the one that came out.
Flashbacks and Campaign 96 will be available in late October. Interplay has entered into an agreement with Acclaim to distribute two
Great
of its most
photo.
popular titles for the Mac.
Let's hear it for Jimmy the Truck.
Mortal Kombat 2 and NBA Jam Tournament Edition will ship in early 1996. Creative Wonders, the ABC Electronic Arts joint venture which produces educational and
Let's hear it for Jimmy the Truck.
support for the Windows 95 operating system for all of their future releases. The first title incorporating Win95 technology will be Madeline and the Magnificent Puppet Show. Available.
Let's hear it for Jimmy the Truck.
The first fully native products will appear in October, including Schoolhouse Rock, Grammar, and Wide World of Animals. If you're thinking about picking up one of the new
I'm the king of multimedia.
I sure am.
Check out the website Pocket Books has set up to promote the books.
Okay.
The site includes screenshots of gameplay, sample chapters from the books, information about the game, links to other Doom sites, and also includes information on the content to play against the game's creators. Ocean of America is expanding their website called Ocean Online. The site offers online user registration, contests, press releases, tech support, demos, and screenshots. Visit them at the address shown on your screen.
Okay, so the industry's got a lot going on, but what about adventure? What? Chat, I think adventure is broken. Oh. Okay, 3D Opinion seems to work.
This month in 3D Opinions, we take a look at a number of new software titles and preview the next generation of 3DO entertainment. First and foremost, 3DO shocked the video game community in late July by announcing that they've shaved $100 off the retail price of their system. The 3DO now retails for $299, viewed by many as a competitive price against the onslaught of new gaming platforms, including Sony's PlayStation, which will retail for the same three-digit figure. Retailers state that 3DO sales are up 128% after the price slash. The heart of the tiger prevails in Origin's Wing Commander 3, now available on the 3DO platform. This incredible 3D space simulator, starring the likes of Mark Hamill and Malcolm McDowell, is a direct port of its PC counterpart with some added technical improvements. Although the Karathi and Tehran are still engaged in a fierce battle in this third installment of Chris Roberts' popular series, it's time for a showdown at the corral against those pesky cats. The 3DO version, which spans 4 CDs, features a completely reorchestrated Dolby surround sound score, which sounds truly impeccable on a proper home audio system. Origin has also significantly improved the video quality of the live-action sequences, upgrading the number of colors on screen and cleaning up the overall look. Although the game works best with the CH Flight Stick, it is surprisingly controllable with the regular 3DO pad. Chalk up 1 in the win column for Origin, as the 3DO version is a true complement to the already incredible PC edition.
Okay.
In the who can rehash a concept more times than imaginable category, American Laser Game easily grabs the award for Space Pirates, otherwise known as Mad Dog Gets Stuck on a Space Station and Needs to Shoot the Guards. This full-motion video shooter title is in the same vein as their other efforts, and is really no fun unless you have the 3DO Game Gun peripheral, which will set you back another $75. My advice? Stick a few quarters in the arcade machine for the same experience. Now let's remember to keep Mad Dog and those Kilrathi cats apart, or fury could erupt between the cats and the dog.
Got it.
SSI's highly touted war simulation Panzer General has marched its way onto the 3DO as the first true war game to spin its magic on a video game platform. Featuring authentic World War II video footage, the tables are turned as you assume the role of a German general in 1939, battling against those American Yankees. With over 35 scenarios, Panzer General is certainly not for the novice war aficionado, but for hardcore strategy fans, this is their game. Now we just need to
This is a competent version of gaming in the Clinton years.
Would own a 3DO. When you cross animated pyramids,
Oh, it's fucking Icebreaker. Chat, it's Icebreaker.
Icebreaker. With over 150 levels of brain-twisting fun, the game concept is extremely warped and original, but the learning curve is sky high. Each level has a terrain with hazards such as swamps and different pyramids such as the
My life is nothing but pain.
From speed to weapons. All in all, the game is an interesting puzzle concept, but the play mechanics are hard to learn at first. This isn't Tetris, but it is an innovative puzzle game. It is truly staggering that a little black and white puzzle game named Tetris on the Game Boy has inspired more clones than one could begin to imagine. What's really strange is that no game has even come close to approaching how addictive the original game was. Tripped from Panasonic Software is a falling tile game where evil
Did
alien
this
eggs
come
need to
out?
be grouped in pairs of colors to destroy the possible alien invasion. In other words, a shoddy plot
Yeah,
wrapped
this
around
came
a
out.
Tetris clone. Although in its defense, one of the better falling tile games. Gold Star Software recently released the MPEG add-on unit for the 3DO player, which allows full video CD compatibility. In a nutshell, this means that 3D owners can use their machine to play all of the Philips CDI discs, including such titles as Forrest Gump
Really?
and Star Trek Generations. Although there had been talk of MPEG game titles, those plans seem to have fizzled. The expansion card comes with Arnold
So I can
Schwarzenegger's
play
Total Recall. The
CDI
compression is
on
relatively impressive
3DO?
for the 3DO, approaching the quality of VHS with CD quality sound. The unit retails for approximately $200. Before creating Patank on the
Okay.
3DO, PF Magic created a cartridge title named Balls for 16-bit cartridge machines, but the title certainly wasn't the blockbuster they hoped to produce. The company is now relaunching the game on 3DO, adding the phrase Director's Cut. Featuring some stunning music and new characters in the 3DO version, Balls is a really unique fighting game, in the same vein of Street Fighter.
Very unique.
Due for release in October,
CD,
Balls
I'm.
the
Oh,
Director's
that's
Cut
crazy.
looks like it is headed in the right direction. Electronic Arts' 3DO mega hit Shockwave will be jolted with a sequel in early 1996 called, appropriately enough, Shockwave 2. These early images of the sequel show that it will remain true to the original, although the series is now being expanded onto the PlayStation and Saturn. Shockwave 2 promises 400% bigger levels than the original, and 3 new alien races with 25 additional combat vehicles. Extraterrestrial mayhem will be unleashed on 3DO in early 1996. And 3D Opinions will unleash you for another month. Happy gaming!
Happy gaming. I want to try this again. Hold on. Okay, I think that's just going to make my audience sick. Hold on.
In a surprise announcement, special adapt. This month on the Saturn side of gaming, we take a look at a number of forthcoming titles due on the system for the fall season.
Sorry
along
to
with
melt
some
anyone's
special announcements
brain.
for Saturn owners. That first special announcement is one that will definitely add fuel to the fire in Sega's war against the PlayStation. Between now and September 30th, registered Saturn owners can call 1-800-C-SATURN and receive a free new game, Virtua Fighter Remix. This game is an updated Virtua Fighter with full texture mapping, sizzling graphics, and intense speed. Leave it to Sega to please the masses. Special adapter cards such as the Real Magic for MPEG and Creative Labs 3DO Blaster have come and gone. Now Sega is trying to hit the PC market with the announcement of their new NVIDIA card. Requiring a Pentium computer and Windows, this multimedia accelerator card will allow users to play specially encoded Saturn titles and even some arcade titles on their PCs. Although a price was not announced, look for the card to be bundled with a software title and on store shelves for the holiday season. In a surprise announcement, Acclaim has obtained the distribution rights to a number of new Saturn titles, including Myst from Sunsoft and Street Fighter the Movie, a fighting game from Capcom. Additionally, they will produce Robotica, a Mech and Munch 3D first-person romp known as Daedalus in Japan. This significantly increases Acclaim's Saturn lineup and should help it match its near $500 million in revenues last year. One of Sega's hottest arcade properties, Virtua Racing, has been licensed to Time Warner Interactive for the Saturn. This version of the game is near arcade perfect and even eclipses the sit-down unit in some areas. Those areas include a new Grand Prix mode, which adds 4 more cars to the competition, and a total of 7 new tracks. With a total of 5 cars and 10 tracks, there is no question that the Saturn version is leaps and bounds ahead of the other incarnations. Furthermore, there are the usual canned cinematic sequences and segues, but the real star here is the Grand Prix mode. Now you can spend an entire season racing against other cars such as the F1 and the Sports Coupe. The new tracks are well designed, and it is a plus that the old staple track from the arcade is still present. Although the argument can be raised that Virtua Racing is old news when compared to Daytona, there's no question that Time Warner Interactive has really tried to soup up the game for the Saturn, and the result is a game that easily obtains the checkered flag. The next release planned for the Saturn is Blackfire, which is easily described as a souped-up Comanche Maximum Overkill. This 3D helicopter simulator includes 360-degree combat action and blade-whipping combat in 6 different terrain maps. Of course, to add a little spice to the game, your enemies are experimenting with alien technology, so you don't stand a chance. Or do you? Blackfire, which looks like a killer copter sim, will be available in late September. Yet another title to preview is Gen War, where an evil empire has come to the Earth's solar system to take slaves.
Yeah, this guy
and
loves
try
souping
new
up
planet-destroying
things.
weapons. The usual plot of the fate of humanity is in your hands unrolls. Similar in style to a Mech Warrior game, you walk around in a 360-degree world spanning 7 levels, trying to save the Earth from the clutches of evil. Just when are companies going to stop these fate of humanity plots? Jeez. One of the hottest arcade properties last year, Virtua Cop, will shoot its way exclusively onto the Saturn later this year. Featuring amazing polygon graphics and scrolling, this title is the ultimate 3D arcade shooter. Think of Virtua Fighter meets Lethal Enforcers, and you'll have a good picture of the action in this title. Sega promises it will be a flawless arcade conversion, but we are still waiting to see any true gameplay. Nonetheless, due for release later this fall, it's time to take the law into your own hands with Virtua Cop. Presto Studios' futuristic space drama The Journeyman Project was a success on the Macintosh, but
the Journeyman Project!
Slow game engine. Now Presto is tapping their magic wand on the Saturn with the director's cut of The Journeyman Project. This version will be much more cinematic in feel and take advantage of full-screen video. Presto is optimizing the game for use with the Saturn control panel, and this title should hit the store shelves in late 1995. Finally, Sega has recently released a number of peripheral devices for the Saturn. First up is the incredible Arcade Racer Wheel, which works flawlessly with Daytona USA and virtual racing. The wheel will easily shave a few seconds off your lap times, simply because it's so much nicer to use than the control pad. Furthermore, Sega has also released a fighting stick for the Virtua Fighter series of games, including the forthcoming Virtua Fighter 2, along with a mission stick for flight simulators such as Panzer Dragoon and Blackfire. Now the Saturn Scope will fire out of here for another month. Happy gaming!
All right, next up is PS Extreme. Let's see if this works. Oh, I can't even click on PS Extreme. That's cool. Okay, couple issues with this issue, but that's fine. Okay, let's check out the Brady Games sponsorship. Yep. Are these just strategy guides? What happens when I click?
Strap in, grab that flight stick, and get ready to win with the help of the Top Gun official strategy guide.
They finally have ads! I'm so happy for them!
Loaded with inside information on all the missions and objectives. The Top Gun official strategy guide includes instructions and vital information to turn you from rookie to Top Gun, plus a behind-the-scenes look at the making of Top Gun the game.
Mech Warrior 2?
Conquer the universe with the help of Brady Games' Mech Warrior 2, the official
Yeah, all written by
guide.
Brady.
Learn the best way to pilot your mech. Gain valuable insights into the Battle Mech universe and discover the right mech with the right combination of protection, firepower, and speed.
Terminal Velocity?
Get inside the world of Terminal Velocity with all of the cheat codes, power-ups, mission objectives, and fighting strategies with Terminal Velocity, the official strategy guide to planetary destruction. The strategy guide also comes with a bonus CD-ROM containing the shareware version of Terminal Velocity and TVCAD 1.0 game editor and a shareware version of Apogee Software's Raptor. The official strategy guide covers network and modem play options, complete mission descriptions of both shareware and
Vestless, thank you so much for subbing. Appreciate it. All right, we've got a Final Unity.
Brady Games has created a companion to guide you through the Final Unity experience. The Star Trek The Next Generation of Final Unity official strategy guide is 3 play guides in 1. You can play the game any way you want with hints and tips if you just need a little help, or a complete walkthrough with a thorough description of every portion of the game and what to do when you get there, or Solutions, a down and dirty step-by-step guide to solving the game fast. Also included is an interview with Lieutenant Warf actor Michael Dorn, and as an added bonus, a full-color poster of key game locations and a complete listing of episodes for all 7 seasons.
Cool. I like posters. But we did 3D opinion. Maybe this will let us see adventure news. Let's see. Hey, it works!
Computer and video games have long been the almost exclusive domain of male players.
Do you like this, chat?
PC enlightenment,
Here,
many companies are
chat, take a screenshot, because this is good.
To the fairer sex could double their business. That trend began a couple of years ago with
I'm actually print
Task
screening
developing
this.
special products for a female audience. Over the course of 3 years, girls' use of Sega Genesis products has jumped from 5 to 20%. Now all kinds of folks want to get in on the act. American Laser Games is hard at work pushing their Games for Her line of products. Magnet Software is preparing to release Chop Suey, an interactive adventure.
That's a game I need to play.
And photographer Monica Jasu and author Teresa Duncan, both of whom very much have a young female audience in mind. In Austin, Texas, a company named Girl Games is focusing on games and online services for girls, as is a Los Angeles-based company called E-Girl Interactive. On the more masculine, violent side, one of Philips' most successful CDI titles, Burn Cycle, has really been taking its time getting to the PC, but the wait is over. The dark cyberpunk thriller will now be available on CD-ROM for PC.
E-Girl Interactive!
They'll have to wait an extra month in Europe, but from all reports, this title may be worth it. Look for an IE review soon. MGM Interactive made their first appearance a few months back as one of the many company names on the box of Blown Away, along with Imagination Pilots and IVI Publishing. Well, they're making plans to transfer more of their film properties into CD-ROM titles. They've already released a disc on the making of Rob Roy, and they're combining forces with GTE Interactive for a game based on the movie, based on the comic book Tank Girl. MGM is also.
Did they ever make a Tank Girl game? I want to say absolutely not.
It just seems like another sad case of people killing each other.
Designed by H.R. Geiger. Geiger also supplies design.
Yeah, that sucks. I would have loved a Tank Girl multimedia game.
Distributed by MGM. Epic is primarily known for their large library of shareware titles, with stuff like Jazz Jackrabbit and pinball games. But they are currently at work on a major adventure game, currently under the working title Curly's Adventure. This will be a cartoony, humorous story in the tradition of Day of the Tentacle and Sam and Max. Look for more info in a later episode of IE. Origin is nearing completion on Wing Commander 4: The Price of Freedom, but they're also working on a new cinematic product. The Darkening is not related to the Wing Commander universe, but is also a combination of strong character development and spaceflight. It also has a killer cast, including Christopher Walken, John Hurt, David Warner, Jurgen Prochnow, David McCallum, Brian Bless, and Amanda Pays. This production is being directed by Aaron Roberts, Wing Commander Chris Roberts' younger brother, and it's scheduled for release early next year. You just know we're going to have a preview soon, so don't miss an episode, gang.
You just know. Okay, we saw that one. Air Power.
One thing about the computer gaming world, when a particular game genre is
Curly's Adventure never came out? Well,
new twist on an old idea.
Fuck everything.
The market has more than its share of games, covering just about every historical period and idea possible. So, what's new for Fighter Sim fans? Mindscape and Rowan Software are hoping it's their forthcoming release, Air Power, a strange and sometimes bizarre look at air combat. In Air Power, the kingdom has fallen into turmoil after the recent death of its ruler, and a group of warlords are vying for power. The player is one of these leaders as he takes his force of airships from
I like these guys. These are just programmers.
One way or the other. Some towns willingly join the player, while some towns will refuse and have to be taken by force. Either way, the player has to gather enough support and strength to make a bid for the throne. The player has help on his missions to conquer the world in the form of a first officer, a war chief, and a diplomat. It's the first officer's job to keep the player updated on the status of the fleet, while the war chief handles all of the combat analysis and recommendations. The diplomat is used in peaceful attempts to gain support for your cause. During negotiations with a city, the player gets to pick and choose certain...
I love this FMV so much.
On those responses, the city will decide whether to join or resist. Air Power takes place in a vast world. Since your fighter planes don't have the necessary range to travel long distances, you must use blimps to move your planes from place to place. There are several flagship blimps the player can choose from at the beginning of the game, and depending on the blimp taken, there are types of fighters that are specific only to that blimp. This means that the player will never be fighting the same style of aircraft he's flying. And in case you're wondering how a blimp moves planes around, the planes are hooked onto a bar on the underside of the blimp as they ride from place to place. The fighters themselves are the focal point of Air Power. Everything about the game seems pretty normal until you get a look at these planes. While some are relatively normal-looking biplanes, some of the other designs are straight out of Oz. The flying wings, the swept-wing vampires, and some designs that I don't even have a name for add a slight surreal feel to the overall game. But for all of their weirdness, the planes still manage to somehow look believable, like they could...
Professor Bad Vibes?
In Air Power, the player not only has to...
I have seen every single episode of Decker. I also have Deck of Cards, the VHS tape, and
player will have to perform different duties.
I'm a big on cinema head.
The player isn't put in the role of winning the war himself, but he must work with the other fighters.
Highly recommend on cinema at the cinema.
Are as diverse as the planes. When
They just got a new app.
A city which refuses to join him, the only choice is to attack and take it by force. A set of mission objectives appears, and the player chooses which targets and in what order to destroy. Some missions involve bombing strategic sites.
I got to see on. Yeah, there's a deck of cards VHS tape. I got to see on Cinema Live a few years ago, and it was so good. I've also got a VFA pin, pack of cards from On Cinema.
Mindscape has
I got the book.
A lot of originality
I'm a big on cinema freak.
And game design to make it stand out from the competition. It's a kind of fantasy-style take on air combat which should appeal to fans
I'm a
of
Greg
games like
head.
Warcraft. Expect to release sometime around September.
Greg from On Cinema just feels like the most biting commentary towards being a nerd that I gotta love him. Broadcast Blast. They actually mentioned that last issue, so let's see what they have to say about Broadcast Blast.
In order to get in the right mood for this review of Baseball for Windows, Broadcast Blast, we decided to do the review from an actual baseball game. Great seats, huh, buddy?
Got that right. And the best thing is, the boss is paying for them. This is a...
I'm the king of
Business
multimedia.
expense. Cha-ching!
Bada boom!
The thing is, most PC baseball games seem to be designed around simulating gameplay. You know, swinging the bat, throwing the ball, that kind of stuff, with any kind of statistical features being secondary. Hey, you want a hot dog?
You paying?
No, but the boss is.
Well, gimme two. Cha-ching!
Cha-ching indeed.
Cha-ching!
Baseball for Windows Broadcast Blast is an attempt to explore the purely statistical side of baseball. In fact, there's no arcade anything in it. The player never swings a bat, throws a ball, or runs the bases.
Baseball for Windows is an electronic version of your old baseball board game. It puts the player in the role of a manager and allows the player to do only the things that a real baseball manager does.
But don't think that's not much, because there's a lot more, and I mean a lot more to baseball than hitting and throwing a ball.
Is there? Oh, Jesus.
Don't expect a graphic explosion when playing Baseball for Windows. All you see is a still picture of a baseball park with the player's name at their respective positions.
The player makes decisions through this menu bar on the right side of the screen.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Offensively, the player can tell his players to hit and run, bunt, steal, and call a timeout. Defensively, the player can tell his pitcher to pitch normally, intentionally walk the batter, have his first baseman hold the runner, pitch from the stretch, and have the infield play in.
Once you start playing Broadcast Blast, all you have to do is press the pitch or hit icons. Every now and then a situation will pop up.
Speaking of pop-ups, foul ball coming!
What?
Ooh, I bet that hurt. You look like you need another beer. But every now and then a situation will pop up where the player must make a special decision, like whether or not to tag up on a fly ball. When that happens, a decision bar will pop up and the player
This
only
feels
has
like a
few
game
seconds
for
to make a
dads,
decision,
yeah.
Since in a real game, the manager has to make snap decisions as well. The player can also bring in substitutes, which is the bulk of the strategy during an actual game.
Baseball for Windows Broadcast Blast gets its name from the digitized announcing done by legendary Hall of Fame radio announcer Ernie Harwell.
Well, hi everybody, I'm Ernie Harwell.
The biggest problem posed by the use of digitized sound bits is that the game must string together bits and pieces of pre-recorded stuff, and when it's played back, it sounds like this.
Today we're wired here from Boston, where the hometown locals will host on their own turf. The locals take the field here in the first. They set his opening slate.
But overall, the quality of the announcing is not bad, and the designers have made sure to get a lot of diversity in, so Ernie's not just saying the same old thing over and over.
Boy hits the dirt. Ball 4 almost hit him, and Boy glares down at it, and that sets up the double play. That was Boy's first walk of the season.
But anyone who's just interested in the statistical part of the game will probably find Ernie's off button quickly.
There's more than just playing the actual game in Baseball for Windows. The Advanced Draft allows the players to design their own teams, leagues, and organizations.
The Advanced Draft module is a powerful editing tool that...
Ooh, look! The wave!
Whoa! It's a powerful editing tool that can move players from team to team and even call minor leaguers up from farm clubs.
In order to have your own teams, you must first create your own organization, then throw your leagues into that, then throw your teams into that league. It's a little confusing at first, but it quickly becomes very intuitive.
The only problem is that in the original package, the only players you get are the guys from the 1971, 1943, and 1921 seasons. Whoa! There's also 4 old-timer leagues thrown in, but there are no modern players included.
If you want any additional teams and players, add-on discs are available. Also included in the Baseball for Windows package is the League Manager program, which lets the player control all aspects of the scheduled season.
Anything about the season, like when teams play each other, starting pitchers, and starting lineups for that game, can be controlled through this module.
Excuse me, guys. I need to get to my seat over there.
Here, why don't you sit with us?
Would you like us to get you anything? A Coke? Popcorn?
Are you guys sure? I mean, I don't want to impose.
Oh, no.
Come on.
No problem at all.
Sit.
No, really. Here's your Coke, and here's some popcorn.
You sure? I mean, you really don't have to buy.
Hey, don't worry about money at all. We've got it covered.
Cha-ching!
Ba-da-boom!
Anyway, the number
I
of
do
games
like that
being
this
played
is a
this season
this is a
customized. Then the player can personally decide
This is
which
a
team
real,
plays which other team, the time of day that the
spreadsheet
game
game.
is being played, and in which city the game will be played at.
Once you've got your own personal league started, Baseball for Windows starts keeping stats like you wouldn't believe.
At the end of every game, you can get a printout of the player's performance in that game, which includes 22 different categories for each hitter, along with 17 categories for the pitchers.
To help compile all of the stats, Baseball for Windows includes the Stat Master module, which slices and dices virtually every statistic that's recordable for each team and player.
Hundreds of different reports can be generated on stats like the decisions percentage,
relief wins plus saves,
the strikeout to walk ratio,
the reviewers hit by foul ball percentage,
the reviewers hit by foul ball.
Dude, you gotta start bringing your glove. There's lots of additional support stuff which goes along with Baseball for Windows. There's an online tutorial and a program called Tail Spinners, which features folks talking about the game of baseball and their experiences with it.
Like most kids, I was introduced to baseball by my dad. Besides introducing me to the game, he spent hundreds of hours as my coach, warm-up, catcher, batting practice, pitcher.
I enjoyed the Great Announcers section, which had biographies of Ernie Harwell and other legendary baseball announcers. Granted, it's only text and doesn't have the digitized audio of the Tail Spinners package, but it was still fun and informative.
As you can see, Baseball for Windows is not for everybody. It might not even be for most people. The lack of action will definitely be a turnoff to a lot of gamers.
The sheer amounts of numbers and stats can also tend to get overwhelming at times. But for what it is, Baseball for Windows Broadcast Blast is a very good product, providing armchair managers with a great means of expressing their baseball statistical genius.
Okay, but what are the pros?
As far as the statistical and logistical aspects are concerned, Baseball for Windows Broadcast Blast is perfect. The Ernie Harwell announcing was put together very well.
And the cons?
The lack of any kind of real action can be a turnoff. Baseball for Windows will only appeal to a narrow market.
We should also try Tony La Russa 3 and FPS Baseball. Okay, let's go back to the article list. Capitalism. Y'all ever heard of this capitalism, chat?
With 3 major games focusing on business and finance being released this second half of the year, it would seem that financial simulations are becoming a big deal. Interactive Magic will be getting back into the thick of things this month or so with capitalism. In it, the player takes control of their own corporation with only one goal: make money and make lots of it. When starting out, the player is armed with $10 million to do with as he pleases. The computer generates a world to play in where the player has to place his businesses in the most strategic places. For example, retail outlets work best in the middle of the city, while farming works best in rural areas. There are several types of structures to place, including factories, department stores, farms, and research and development. Each structure has its own place in the product development line. A farm or a mine is at the beginning, a retail outlet would be at the end, while manufacturing is somewhere in the middle. The player can start up a business in any or all of these areas, but each type of business
Are
is
there
dependent
baseball
on
mods for Doom? I'd play
A retail
that.
store requires someone to develop the product being sold, while a manufacturing plant requires a provider of raw materials and a buyer for the finished product. There's a lot of interdependency in capitalism. To succeed, the player must discover how best to fit in. You can get involved in producing 40 different products, but they all aren't available at the beginning of the game. Some products require multiple products to develop them. For example, a player can't just buy milk from a farm and sell it as it is. It first requires glass for bottling. So, in order to sell bottled milk, a manufacturing plant must be built which combines both glass and milk and produces the final product, which can then be sold to a retail outlet. The interface in capitalism is really very clever. Each building that is placed on the map, be it a factory, department store, or farm, has 9 places for individual business units. These business units represent the actual departments and people who run things. For a retail outlet to start selling goods, the player must first start up a purchasing department and specify which business that department will buy goods from. Once that is done, a sales department must be started in order to actually sell the product. Capitalism features a nifty flowchart-style interface in which the player can connect each individual business department. So you can specify things like which sales department sells each respective purchasing department's product. When you get into messing around with manufacturing and advertising, this style of interface really comes in handy. Along with products, the player also has to play the stock market. The player has the responsibility of issuing his corporation's stock at the right time and in the right amount. The player also has $1 million credited to him personally to invest however he wants. All of the other corporations have stock which can be traded, so shrewd investment can be an additional source of income. And since buying and selling large quantities of stocks can affect the price of the stocks, a wise CEO can hurt the competition using the stock market. Capitalism keeps track of about anything that can be measured or rated. Through a ton of graphs, charts, and percentages, capitalism works as your personal research department, number crunching like you wouldn't believe. If you want to know the quality of any product, what attributes are important to consumers, the 12-month history of the company, you name it, capitalism has the ability to show
this seems
While
like
capitalism
Alex
is very
Poison. It's
business-oriented,
very
that doesn't mean that it's slow and
spreadsheet
boring. There are
based.
enough variables, combinations, and choices in this game to give the most advanced simulation or strategy game a run for its money. If you always wanted to run your own business, Capitalism by Interactive Magic will give you a chance when it hits the shelves in October.
Ooh, running a little low on product.
A little bit. Now it's time for CEO, a game I have played. No, not Chaos Control, a game I like. But no. Go back. Yeah, CEO, baby.
Okay, send him in.
Mr. Raptor?
Hell, call me Buzz.
Oh,
Come on in, sit down.
they're doing a bit
What's your name,
chat.
Milo McCappin boy, your buzz chip?
Milo, this is CEO A4 Networks, a game created to simulate the operation of the world's most powerful multinational company. The premise is that A4 has designed this high-tech, ultra-realistic simulation to evaluate potential candidates for its vacant CEO position.
Well, it certainly seems like a good idea, oh mighty evil one.
Excuse me. I'm on it. It is a good idea, which is why I'm stealing it. But there's some real problems with A4's implementation, which is why I want you to get to know this game real well.
Problems?
Affirmative. Interface problems. Major interface problems. Fatal interface problems. Just to reassure myself that you've got a clue, what are the 3 things you have to be aware of when designing a strategy game?
Information, and information?
Right. Not bad, kid.
MBA, Harvard Business School.
Yeah. Anyway, CEO goes out of its way to make it hard for you to get the information you need. I mean, look at this mess. Whose idea was it to make sure that the balance, which one might consider the most important part of a balance sheet, gets covered up by the satellite panel? In order to read it, you've got to retract the satellite panel by hand. And let's not even go into the fact that to get all the information the balance sheet displays, you have to click the button that shows it 3 times. Here's another act of genius. I wanted to build on a section of map that had some forest growing on it. As a longtime SimCity player, I went looking for the bulldoze command.
That seems logical.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Unfortunately, nobody involved with the design thought that, so in order to clear forest, you have to
This
go to
is
the
A
skill
Train,
menu,
yeah.
choose various, select the forest tile, and remove it.
Okay. Do not bury commands beneath bunch of unintuitive menus. Got it. Say, why'd they make you select whether you want to place or remove an item? I should think that wouldn't be that hard for the program to figure out that if a space is empty, you're replacing something, and if there's something there, you're removing it.
That ain't the worst part. Notice that there's 4 types of city parks. If you want to remove an existing park, you have to select the exact same type. If you go blind with this, try to match up the different types of parks.
But surely there must be some redeeming feature.
Yeah, the video of James Coburn as D.O. Barnes, your virtual predecessor, is pretty damn good. And Coburn's about the best actor I've ever seen
Running a little low on
posed over a
product.
blue screen. Getting Catherine Sparks, CNN
He does sound like Morty.
is
Fuck.
also a class act.
At A4, we trust in the element of surprise.
This is just
Imagine
Rick
any
and
other company
Morty.
stepping outside their cozy network of corporate sycophants and placing a rank amateur at the top.
What about the gameplay?
Okay, I admit it. I don't understand how to play this game. I know you're supposed to be able to make money, but I just don't know how.
There now. It's okay.
Of course it is, damn it. I'm the buzzsaw, ain't I? Did I not cut out the legs from under Spumco, buy up all their intellectual properties for a song, relocate the factories to Mexico and make billions by cranking out cheap, insufferable Throg action figures? Heck, and that was left-handed. Now the problem's with this damn game. I mean, nowhere does it even allude to what you're supposed to do with yourself. Make money, presumably, but how? It's a big mystery, and that's not a good thing for a financial game.
Just for the record, what sort of things are you supposed to be able to do in this game?
Build stuff, mostly. trains and buses at first, from laying track to raising stations to purchasing the buses and trains themselves. As you accumulate wealth, you can also construct buildings to lease, airports, marinas, shops, factories, and a variety of other venues. Unfortunately, in addition to money, you need raw materials.
Funny, I thought that acquiring materials was what you paid the contractors for.
There's no way to obtain information on how much of these raw materials you have available except to check every factory and train station on the map for little crates stacked in the space near them. Nor does it tell you how many raw materials are consumed when you build something, or exactly how you acquire new raw materials. As far as I can tell, they just sort of accumulate over time. You can also play the stock market. Here's yet another bonehead move. Why have a full screen display showing stocks that aren't in
I would put all my stuff into Harmony Gold. Harmony Gold, going to the moon, baby.
Is this. Playing CEO is akin to jumping into deep water. You're okay if you know how to swim, or if you wear a life jacket.
Translation: if the manual teaches you how to play the game, or if it's intuitive enough that you can figure it out on your own, you're good to go.
Exactly. Unfortunately, in CEO's case, it ties an anchor around its neck and commits seppuku before hurling itself into the Marianas Trench.
Yeah, and that's what I'd tell the guy who greenlighted the release of this game to do, if he worked for me.
Milo, maybe there's hope for you yet.
All right. But what are the pros, Rick and Morty?
The idea behind this game. That
Oh, now
A-Corp
you're
has faked
fine.
The death of its CEO in order to drive its stock prices down, and has created a computer simulation of running the company in order to select its successor, is extremely cool. As was the choice of James Coburn to play ex-CEO Dwight O. Barnes.
Well, it's...
The interface bites rocks, which would be okay if the manual were good. The manual is valueless for learning how to play this game, which would be okay if you could figure it out by playing it, which you can't, basically making this game a $60 paperweight.
Yeah, that was my issue with A-Train 4. I mean, CEO. If you like this, you should also try Transport Tycoon and, of course, SimCity. Okay. Next up, Chaos Control.
Everybody loves a good, fast-paced spaceship battle.
That's
Remember
true.
the big Death Star scene in Star Wars where the ship goes down in the trench?
Who doesn't? I still get goosebumps watching that.
Well, Chaos Control, the new arcade-type shooter.
Part 1 of IE's spectacular trilogy of hints and tips for Full Throttle. An
What?
adventure game with a nice set of choppers. Click on the location that's putting a knock in your engine.
Remember all those
What?
space probes we sent
What?
out in the
That
60s
was
and
a
70s
huge
out in the
error.
Universe. Hey, here we are.
What is
Drop
wrong
by
with this
sometime.
disc?
Wait, let me guess. We found somebody out there and they weren't very nice.
Very good. You show remarkable
Hi,
familiarity
Scarlet
with sci-fi
Swordfish.
plot number 63A. In this case, the bad guys are a sort of insecty humanoid race called the Keshran. They're a bunch of ruthless jerks bent on world conquest at any cost.
Hey now, that's a very racist attitude. So by any chance, does the player take the part of the one person in the world who can possibly save us from this hideous alien threat?
Once again, you're one step ahead of the game. You play Lieutenant Jessica Darkhill, ace pilot, and your first mission is to clear a path for a bunch of civilians who need to be repatriated from the lunar base to Manhattan.
You also appear to be a cartoon character.
It's called anime, mister, and it's very popular these days.
Well, it would be anime, except that this game is quite thoroughly
It would
French
be
and
called
not really
anime.
Japanese at all.
Well, okay, it only wants to be anime, but it still looks nifty.
It does sort of give you the impression that the aliens are destined to win, though. I mean, look at these guys. They've all got 3 dimensions going for them.
Actually, I think that the idea behind this odd character design is to try and keep player interest up with a Robotech-style soap opera plot. Jessica is sent into battle by her father, who can hardly bear the thought of his sweet little
Robotech
girl going off
mentioned.
and get toasted by the bugs, stuff like that.
Well, does it work? Do you care about the characters?
Not likely. The scenes last for a few minutes, then you get no reminders of the character's existence during battle. It might have been a good idea to have some radio contact with somebody.
Well, this sounds like a good time to talk about the actual gameplay.
Jessica is supposed to be this terrific pilot, and apparently the designers didn't want to sacrifice this bit of character in case you happen to be a rotten one, so you don't handle any of the flying at all.
Well, that's not so awful. There's lots of nail-to-the-rail games out there. I assume you get to handle the gun, right?
Yep, that's your job. You click on your targets with your mouse. The crosshair cursor starts out green and then turns red when it's on top of an enemy.
What the hell was that?
Oh, that was the supposedly useful voice that tells you to fire when the cursor turns red.
But you don't... Okay, this is moving pretty fast. Do the enemies always attack in the same pattern when you play?
Exactly the same.
Nailed to the
Did I mention
rails.
that there are 2 difficulty settings?
Okay, what changes?
I have no idea. It looked exactly the same to me.
It's funny, I can see that the bad guys are firing at you, but I
Please stand by 12. Thank you for the follow.
No explosion or anything, but the camera shakes a little. And you see this gauge down at the bottom? That's the shield meter. It goes down a little bit when someone hits you.
Why isn't anything blowing up when you hit it?
It is.
No, it isn't. It's still there. There's just a cloud of smoke around it. Do you maybe need to hit it again to blow it up?
I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but that's about as blown up as things get. The folks who were working on the graphics apparently didn't want to bother themselves with effective explosions.
You mean you can't even blow things up? What the heck is the point of an arcade shooter if you can't blow anything up?
It's also annoyingly difficult to complete the first level. It seems no matter how viciously you attack the enemy, you always end up dying in about the same place.
Well, challenge is good. It gives you more reason to want to keep playing.
Well, it would, but I also tried the game without shooting at anything. I just let the program fly me into battle and sat back and watched. I died just a little earlier than I had before. It made almost no difference, except in my score.
Cripes! It sounds like the game misses the boat in almost every possible way. Was there anything that worked well in this game at all?
Well, I still think the actual flying sequences are pretty exciting. There's also an element of subtlety. You shouldn't just go shooting at everything. You have allies on the screen, too.
Is that why the crosshairs are yellow here?
Yeah. If you shoot one of your own men, you get points removed from your score.
That makes sense, but it doesn't sound like nearly enough to salvage Chaos Control.
I just can't picture anyone getting hooked on this game. If you need to shoot things, you won't have trouble finding a better game to do it with. So don't waste
Oh,
your
yeah,
time.
this is the Enter Your Name Jessica game. God, that's classic. Okay. What are the pros?
The flight around the city of New York is very exciting, with lots of narrow twists and turns and many varied enemies to shoot. Be careful not to shoot your own men, or you'll get a point deduction.
And the cons?
When you shoot something, there is no graphic explosion. Instead, a cloud of smoke obscures the target. The voice that tells you when to fire your gun is always late and useless. The only way to tell that your ship is being hit is to watch the shield meter. It's almost impossible to finish the first wave, no matter which difficulty level you're set on.
We should also try Siberia, Nova Storm, and Rebel Assault. Okie dokie. I will be sure to do that. All right, we did Command and Conquer. Let's see what else is here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a quick 1-minute intermission. I didn't have any music planned for this one because I'm still setting up my next intermission, so I'll be back in about probably a minute. So I'll be right back. See you in about a minute.
Ooh, running a little low on product.
I'm back. Hi. Okay. Thank you for waiting. Next up, we've got... Hold on. Hello? There we go. Normal. Okay, we did that. We did the Command and Conquer review. Let's do Cyber Mage.
Take today's
I've played this. Oh, Cyber Mage is weird. I like this game.
Cyberpunk sorcery, and put it all into a first-person perspective 3D engine, and you'll have some clues about Origin's upcoming action-adventure game, Cyber Mage: Darklight Awakening. You may get a chance to save the planet, but who or what are you saving it for? This dark world is the creation of David Bradley, the mind behind Surtech's award-winning Wizardry series. The future Earth is not a happy place to be. National governments have pretty much been replaced by multinational corporations, each trying to absorb or destroy the others. War is a perpetual state, and it's all about money and resources. One corporate entity has been doing particularly well in this state of chaos, having the advantage of a mysterious technology the other guys can't touch. The competition's response is obvious: kill them before they multiply. So, one of this company's major executives is about to be forcibly merged with the Infinite when who should come along but the player character? The execution attempt is foiled, and the boss brings you back to the office to express his gratitude. But be warned, these corporate types have a weird notion of gratitude. In this case, you get the somewhat dubious privilege of becoming a company watchdog. Remember that mysterious technology? Well, it's called Darklight, and you get fitted with a gemstone-like implant of the stuff. Turns out the alien substance gives you supernatural powers, and it's going to make your life a bit more interesting, not to mention violent. You also get a snazzy new uniform if that makes you feel any better. At heart, this game is an adventure, full of puzzles to solve, lots of character dialogue and digitized speech, stuff like that. But there's also a lot of fast-paced first-person action, and lots of bad guys to kill. Check out your arsenal of weapons here, and that's not even showing the variety of powers you get with your Darklight gem. Yow! Who can possibly stand in your way? Of course, you're probably not real happy about helping take over the world for a company you don't even like. So there's a very serious possibility of your rebelling against any given orders that you find offensive. As a result, when your enemies crawl out of the woodwork ready to take you down, you just might be facing employees from your own firm sent to bring you back in line. Also, it's worth mentioning that you are not the only person in the world with a Darklight gem. Close, but not quite. For the next 5 years, probably every first-person shooter ever made will have to stand comparison to Doom. Cybermage will have no problem competing in that arena. Not only does it take place in a true 3D environment, and not only does the player get a variety of weapons that would make any demon hunter drool, both hand-to-hand combat and long range, but the scenarios range from dank underground laboratories to towering city skyscrapers to dense forest. And the character is not always tromping around on foot. You will frequently be able to maneuver through the settings in vehicles from motorcycles to hovercraft. There's bound to be explosions and blood galore.
I like the cat guy.
But the emphasis will always be on story and character.
Hey.
In keeping with the superheroic tone of the adventure, the box will include issue number 1 of a new Cybermage comic book series to be published by Eden Matrix Press. The Dark Knight Awakening takes place this fall.
Okay. Druid Demons of the Mind. No, not Skullkeep. Not Skullkeep. We want Demons of the Mind.
As publishers of the classic Wizardry series, Surtech is no stranger to role-playing games. Druid, their next RPG, departs from the traditional formula for the genre. We recently had the opportunity to speak with Brenda Garno, who wrote the story and dialogue, and asked her just what was special about this new title. Though Druid is intended to appeal to experienced gamers, some deliberate choices have been made to enhance its appeal to newer players.
Most role-playing games have 4 gazillion stats, 4 million substats, 1,000 skills, just all kinds of crazy stuff. And I've been real role-playing for many, many, many years now. And I know that you only need a certain base amount of skills, and those base skills, you can calculate everything from those. So we really tried to bring role-playing back to its true perspective in that regard, which hopefully will make players that are new to the genre not feel like, oh my goodness, what the heck do I do with all these things?
Druid also has a sharper look than many RPGs.
They're right, the phone interviews now sound better.
But the artists have deliberately invested time.
That was Brenda Romero?
To avoid giving the game
the
a
fuck?
Feel.
What they did is took it an extra step. I mean, every single thing in that game is rendered. The stairs, the candles, the pictures, the everything.
Okay.
But they roughed it up. They gave it better textures. I don't know if you've seen the Snow and Ice world, but that's just incredibly hip because I don't remember seeing Snow and Ice. I've seen us try it before in games, and it just didn't work. So no one else obviously ever saw that. But by taking it that extra step and just saying, oh, maybe players are actually still interested in this being art. And not doing the full motion video, but having something that actually looked kind of real. By taking away that, that shiny look, shall we say, of the 3D stuff. The artist, I think, again, did a great job. And I think it'll show in the game because the castle walls look like castle walls. They don't look like something that's rendered.
Such small touches are often unobtrusive, but contribute greatly to making a game feel realistic. In light of this, the developers invested a lot of time in adding features that are extremely cool. although you might not sit up and take notice of them immediately.
I started noticing after I'd hacked off this one guy, I come back to the screen and there's like more blood around his body, and then the blood pool gets bigger, and then his body starts to turn a little gray. And every time I'd walk by this guy into this particular scene, he was like getting worse and worse and worse. And I mean, so it's gross, but I think it's really...
It does look like Mario RPG.
Element. And that's in the game with all the monsters. Well, anything you kill decomposes like I suppose it should.
The game uses a simple point-and-click interface. Click on a place and your character walks there. Click on an object and you get information about it. And when you enter combat, you simply click on your foe to swing with a few extra considerations.
It's real time in that you do have time to make decisions and time to think about what you want to do. You want to cast a spell, but if you stand there for a long enough time, I'm going to realize as a DM, just like the game realizes that, you know, you're puttering around, sorry, I'm going to hit you.
Even the magic system dodges the genre conventions, bypassing cryptic runes and mixing of regions in favor of a simple and logical element-based style that pays homage to the Celtic lore from which it's drawn.
Here's how magic works. If you know the 4 elements, you now understand magic. It's that easy. If you went out in your yard and you took some dirt, some earth, and you added some water, now you have mud. So you can, in the game, throw that mud at an enemy. But let's say you wanted to make it a little stronger. Well, now you get a piece of earth. In this case, it would be
it does have Dink Smallwood vibes, yeah.
To make that move. Now you've got a fireball. You want molten lava. Well, fine. Now you've got to get maybe a little more earth, some fire, some water, and then you can hurl that. Any way that you would mix the elements and logically think in your mind, yeah, it would make this, chances are it will in the game.
All in all, Druid is an ambitious project. It hopes to attract new gamers to a genre which has traditionally been difficult to approach. This October, we'll get a chance to see whether they're visionary or perhaps just as crazy as some other people who live in their part of the world.
Apparently this guy ran up Ford Street, which happens to be the street I live on, with a samurai sword. He ran for like 7 blocks because someone had said something to his mother. He was chasing a guy in a car with a samurai sword.
Hey, I want to know more about that. No, I'm sure the Druid is good and entertaining, but I want to know more about the samurai sword. Yeah, what happened to him? What happened to him? Anyways, Dungeon Master Skullkeep.
Gee, it's dark down here.
Shh. Did you see something over there?
Nope, I didn't see nothing.
Wait. Shine the light over here. Yeah, I kind of thought that looked like a computer game.
What is it?
I'll be darned. It's The Legend of Skullkeep, the sequel to Dungeon Master. Let's get out of this hole and take a look at it.
What kind of game is this anyway?
It's a first-person role-playing game. In it, you play Torum Zed, a young soldier charged with stopping the evil forces arising within the long-abandoned Skullkeep.
Did J.R.R. Tolkien write this story?
Very funny. In Skullkeep, you control a party of up to 4 characters. Gameplay's pretty traditional for an RPG. You kill monsters and you collect treasure, gaining in skill and buying new equipment to build your team of adventurers up to the point where they're ready to tackle the game's ultimate bad guy. One thing lacking in this game is any kind of character development at all. Your characters have names and that's about it, so don't plan to be captivated by the story. That's not to say that Skullkeep isn't involving, however. When your best magic user dies, just as you're finally about to get the key that will let you into the next area of the game, and you have to spend 30 minutes trekking back to the altar of life to resurrect him, and you really ought to go to bed by about an hour ago, you know the game is fun. That's really its strongest point. For a game that plays not too differently than Bard's Tale, Skullkeep is really entertaining.
Whoa, what are those?
Dragons. These are the critters that you encounter at the very
These
end
are
of the first
dragons?
Dungeon Master. You'll run into them within about 30 minutes at the beginning of this game. Dozens of them. This convinced me that Skullkeep is a game in which you'll die pretty often, and I was right. Fortunately, there's an altar of life easily accessible in the town where you start, and you get a VIP pass. Skullkeep uses the same interface as the original Dungeon Master, with a few enhancements. For example, you can open up a container such as a bag or a chest, and take stuff out of it or put it in while it's on the ground. There's also a new item that lets you collect all your money in one place.
Wow, that's a lot of gold. Will your money box hold all that?
Yep. Unfortunately, though, I'll have to pick it up and put it in the box 1 coin at a time. One of the features they didn't add to the interface was the ability to move piles of objects with a single mouse click.
Gee, that's too bad. Didn't Ultima Underworld let you move multiple gold pieces at once?
Yeah, and it came out in like 1992 or something. This is one of the most disappointing things about this game. The interface is slavishly loyal to its predecessor. There were plenty of improvements we've seen in games released since the original that could have been included, but weren't. And that's a shame. Of course, you need to be able to handle lots of money because there's a lot more going on in Skullkeep that involves cash. No more simply scrounging up a gold coin to put in a coin slot. The town where you begin features 4 different stores selling weapons, armor, clothing, and general goods such as food.
I like the way you can haggle with the shopkeepers. A display window shows
Yeah,
you
it's
how
named
much you have
Cletus. Do you
for
like
an item
that?
And how much they'll buy the item from you for. To buy an item, you put up a pile of money on your side of the table, and the shopkeeper will either shake his head no, nod yes, or look pensive and say, If you're clever, you can usually get an item for way less than it's listed for.
I like the fact that you can trade items as well. If you want to upgrade your sword, for example, you can put it on a table with a pile of gold in exchange for, say, a saber. This is definitely one of the most fun haggling systems I've ever seen in an RPG, although I wish the shopkeepers would make their minds up quicker.
Is that the automap?
Yeah.
Where's the rest of it?
That's it. 49
I would love to see a
squares
hillbilly get isekai'd into a medieval world.
You
Imagine.
can change orientation, so it's not impossible to keep your bearings.
I guess that's kind of what the Beverly
and it
Hillbillies
costs
is
mana
like.
to use. Of course, as you progress through the game, you do get upgraded mapping.
Is the
items that have
Beverly
special
Hillbillies an
abilities, like the
isekai?
Scout Map, which lets you send a remote eye out to explore. Unfortunately, although I can see 3 squares away, even through walls and into places you haven't been yet, it doesn't keep track of the parts of the game where you have been.
Bummer.
The game's press release made
A Kid in King Arthur's Court, that's a classic.
Environmental effects. To tell the truth, this isn't all that amazing. Outdoors works exactly like indoors, only you have trees and dirt instead of walls and floor. The weather effects are neat, but they don't really have much effect beyond making it harder for you to see.
Oh, there's an improvement. You can get rained on.
Yeah, and it isn't like visibility's all that great to begin with.
Why is it always night?
I'm sure it isn't supposed to be that way, but it sure looks like it is. The palette's so dark in this game, even with the brightness on my monitor turned all the way up and the biggest light spell you control, it's difficult to distinguish details more than a square or 2 away.
So, are you going to tell people to buy this game?
Sure. There's a lot of stuff to pick on, but there's a lot of good stuff too. And you can forgive a lot since the game is fun to play. The plot's nothing to write home about, but for hacking and
The
slashing,
Beverly
it's all
Hillbillies
to
would be
Just be sure and watch out
overpowered
for
in
those
an
attack
epic
minions,
fantasy
and
setting.
you'll probably enjoy
Yeah.
The Legend of Skullkeep.
I'm sorry. I just imagine Granny in like one of those like. Okay, but if Granny went to one of those worlds where they're like, oh, all the sexy girls have to be your like, you have to buy and own sexy ladies, she would free them all. She would get her gun and kill all the men. It's really cool. Granny needs to be in an isekai. But first, what are the pros of Dungeon
Gameplay
Master?
is very engrossing, and the interface is as easy to use as ever.
Cons?
Character and story involvement are practically nil. The graphics could have been a lot better. Fewer dark hues would have been nice. Also, the interface, while innovative and easy to use, wouldn't have suffered from some of the improvements shown in other RPGs since Dungeon Master's release.
Summoning Granny with her shotgun in a Final Fantasy. God, I wish. Also try Lands of Lore, Ravenloft, and of course, Ultima Underworld 2. Okay. Next up, we've got Endorphin. What the fuck is this?
Hey, man, isn't this an excellent concert?
What?
What the fuck is this,
The
chat?
show, man. All the wicked lights, the drums and sax. Man, I could just jam to this all night. Who are these guys, man? They're excellent.
I hate to dim your bulb, but you are not at a concert. You're playing Endorphin, a new computer game from One Song Partners and Time Warner Interactive.
What do you mean I'm playing a game? I mean, you know, wouldn't I have to know what I'm doing to win a game?
Yeah, you would. I didn't say you were playing well.
Now that you mention it, it looks something like a...
Seraphis Kane, thank you for the 25 bits. Okay, this has to be a bits per.
That's
It is so
Endorphin.
many bits,
It's really
this
pretty
issue.
easy. You control the colored cube and you try to pick up the colored blocks with the pattern on them. You have to roll the cube until you match the top face's color with the square it's sitting on.
Wow, that's not as easy as it sounds. I keep trying to get the bottom to match instead of the top.
Yeah, so does everybody, and I'm not sure why. Trust me though, eventually you'll get the hang of it.
Man, these guys can really wail. Hey man, play Freebird!
Excuse me, Maynard G, but this is a game, not a concert.
Well, whatever it is, this music is great, man. Who are these guys?
They're called the O Band, and they really do supply some great backbeat. But do you want to learn more about the game?
What game? Oh, yeah, endearment.
Endorphin.
Whatever. Okay, so you roll the cube around and you pick up the colors. Is that it?
Well, almost. There are more colored blocks appearing all the time. You can pick them up the same way as the patterned one, but they don't help you finish the round. Sometimes they give you extra points, but sometimes they just get in the way.
Wait a minute. I don't see any points here, man.
That's because you're not playing a points game. There are 3 different ways to play: for points, for speed, and for endurance. And there are a lot of differently laid out levels at different skill settings for each kind of game.
Cool. Let me play.
Boy, that didn't take long. You're really bad at this.
What? You mean I lost already?
Yeah, there's the screen with the positive message so you don't feel so bad about it. All is well.
Yeah, like hell, man. I just lost.
But don't you feel sort of sedate about it?
Well, now that you mention it, yeah, man. Like, sure, I'm a failure, but when you look at it in the larger sense of things, I'm more at peace with the universe and stuff.
That's because you not only get these nice affirmative statements every time you win or lose, there's also lots of positive...
Life is fun and you're willing to enjoy it.
Wow,
Okay.
Man, they thought of everything. I sure am glad I came to this concert. What's the band called again? Endora?
There's a list of all the subliminal messages at the back of the instruction manual so you know what you're getting into.
Hey, man, here's a good one. I create joyful creation. Wow.
Of course, if you'd rather not have this game pour all sorts of upbeat things into your cynical noggin without your consent, you can just turn the music off.
Whoa. Oh, there's like cute little noises when the pieces move. That's kind of boring, man.
Well, it's not as exciting as the music, but at least you know that you aren't being manipulated against your will.
You aren't? Well, what about network television?
The man has a point. Music!
Yeah, all right. Free bird!
Endorphin is the first puzzle game I've ever seen with a new age philosophy, but despite all the kind of vaguely embarrassing peace and love gibberish, it's still a really solid game.
Yeah, man, this game could, like, save the world. Like Fraggle Rock.
Whatever. The slogan on the box says, play more, feel better. But they're quick to tell you
Fraggle
on
Rock
the
could
inside
save
that
the
there's no
world.
Scientific proof that subliminal messages do a darn bit of good.
But why should it matter that it doesn't make you a better person? I mean, it's just a game, man.
Oh, that finally sunk in, did it?
What are the wait, wrong one. What are the pros of Endorphin?
The experience is amazing. You've never seen this kind of psychedelia in your computer, not even in Commander Blood. The O-Band provides an exciting and upbeat musical background. The game itself is highly addictive, and you can play the levels in any order you choose.
But what are the cons?
It would have been a good feature if the player could edit the subliminal messages. Here it's an all-or-nothing proposition. Some folks might be turned off by the overly crunchy tone of this product.
I would edit the subliminal messages to be like, you're good at multimedia. Fuck, I don't know. Anyways, we should also try Tetris, Harmony, and Breakthrough. Well, I'm not trying any of those, so. All right, it's time for Entomorph.
I'm the king of multimedia.
Very
I am.
Successful with its role-playing and adventure titles. Now, after messing around with all that D&D stuff, the company has created its very own universe called The World of Aiden. The second title set in this universe is Entomorph, Plague of the Darkfall. The first title, Thunderscape, will not be related to Entomorph in any other way than sharing the same world. The World of Aiden is suffering from what is called the Darkfall. The Darkfall gained its name from the giant black cloud which descended on the World of Aiden. As black menacing clouds are wont to do, evil creatures started coming forth from the cloud, causing all forms of death and tragedy, thus throwing Aiden into a fight for its very survival. Warwick is a character in the World of Aiden who wakes up one day to find that his memory is all but gone. All he can remember is that he was trying to find his sister on an island that is being overrun by hordes of giant insects, which, as giant hordes of insects are wont to do, feed on the blood of people. And the folks that don't get eaten are being turned into hideous, monstrous insects themselves called, managing editors.
I heard that.
Well, Warwick has to journey across the land to find and eventually stop whatever is causing this horrible plague. The only problem is that Warwick eventually begins to turn into a monstrous insect himself. This isn't as bad as it might seem because his huge new claws and big stingy things become a real help to Warwick on his mission. Entomorph isn't your normal role-playing adventure. With an isometric point of view, the player controls Warwick through a mouse or joystick as he fights through lots of buggy battles in real time. While including lots of arcade-style bug blasting, Entomorph still retains the flavor of a role-playing adventure through the incorporation of a complex branching storyline. As Warwick travels through the Entomorph environment, he comes across other characters and events which reveal more and more of the story. At the beginning of the game, Warwick has only his two hands to fight the good fight. But as he goes along, he eventually gains spells which give him powerful means of attack and protection. Up to 3 different spells can be readied at one time, each being triggered by a quick key on the keyboard. The power of each spell can be adjusted on a scale from 1 to 10, but the more powerful the spell, the more mana is used. Warwick's mana amount is shown on the right side of the screen, and when the mana is gone, so are the spells. If you haven't noticed by now, the SVGA graphics in Entomorph are detailed to the point
Oh, hey, Bob.
The bugs are gruesome, and the
Good
insect
question.
environments are downright icky. But
I
everything's
bet this would work better on PCM demo-wise. I should try that, actually. This isn't running on the PCM right now. I'm still using my old setup, but I kind of want to try that. Good
Plague of
idea.
the Dark Ball looks to be an RPG for the action gamer, as well as an action game for the role player. Action fans will love battling through all of the insect hordes, while the role-playing adventurous type should really get into the involved storylines and puzzles. Everyone should like the soundtrack. Look for Entomorph, Plague of the Dark Ball to crawl into stores in late September or early October.
Okay, we don't need any tips for Full Throttle. Y'all can just look that up yourself. But we've got FX Fighter.
You have a choice.
Hello. No. Back a scene.
So I'm sure.
Back a scene.
Hey,
there we
what
go.
gives with this game anyway? I thought it was supposed to bite.
It should. I mean, a PC fighting game from GTE Entertainment? How much potential does it sound like it has?
About as much as a Free Willy game. So why is FX
I'd play
Fighter
a Free
good
Willy game.
Who gave them the right?
I don't know. Maybe they cared enough about the game to do it right. They're gonna piss a lot of other companies off if they keep doing that.
So I'm sure you're all wondering what the premise of FX Fighter is. Why are you fighting?
I know that's the first question I ask when I start playing a new fighter.
Well, there's this evil green dude with one bad eye. He's made this challenge to 8 alien races. Produce a fighter to beat me, or I'll go boom boom with your planet.
Sounds like a plausible storyline to me. Moving right along.
You have a choice between 8 different characters in FX Fighter. They're very different, but they're all basically humanoid.
Even the insect guy, which is kinda weird, but forget about it. What I like is that you can choose the order in which you fight your opponents. That's a good feature that too few other fighting games have.
It's especially good if you're bad, because you can fight all the wimps right at the start.
When you start the game, you'll find yourself standing on a standard fighting platform, staring at a butt-ugly alien.
These aliens may be ugly, but they sure can move. FX Fighter's character animations are nice and smooth. The body motions are very realistic, even though it's just a bunch of polygons.
That's one of the things this game does right. The fighters feel like actual characters, not just digitized cutouts.
FX Fighter is a 3D-style fighting game, much like Sega's Virtua Fighter in the arcade. You play in a mostly two-dimensional way, but there are 3D camera angles that make the game look a lot more cinematic.
The 3D aspect may not do all that much to change the way the game is played, but at least it's nice to look at. If nothing else, it helps the feel of the game and makes it a little more exciting to play.
Now, the best thing about FX Fighter is the special moves.
You said it. Most fighting games give you 3 or 4 special moves for each character. In FX Fighter, the least amount of special moves you'll find for a fighter is 9, and the maximum is 14.
Kinda puts Street Fighter 2 to shame, doesn't it? Plus, most of the moves are easy to pull off, so you won't have to spend tedious hours trying to perfect a couple moves. The sheer variety should keep players coming back for a long time.
Of course, no game is perfect. FX Fighter touts SGI rendered backgrounds and 3D texture mapped combat arenas, but when you dispense with all the $2 words, the graphics are nothing to get excited about.
They're okay, but nothing special. The characters are pretty blocky and ugly, especially when they mug for the victory camera. But the moves aren't included in the documentation. You have to get them from GTE's worldwide webpage.
That's kinda neat, but GTE should realize that most of us don't have free web access, and this information should be included in the purchase price.
The graphics and sound effects may not win any prizes, but FX Fighter has won a place in my heart just for being a very pleasant surprise.
I was going to say the soundtrack's
But
good.
if you like fighting games, you should pick up FX Fighter. It's not astonishing, but it's a well-made game that action fans should really get into.
It's not Rise of the Robots. I think that's all that really needs to be said.
It's not Rise of the Robots, folks. All right, let's... Hold on. Let's find out the pros.
The gameplay is nice and fast, and the controls are decently responsive, especially with a Gravis gamepad. The 8 characters are diverse and realistically animated, but the best thing about FX Fighter is the large number of special moves for each character, most of which are relatively easy to execute.
And the cons.
The graphics and sound effects leave a little to be desired. The special moves for each fighter aren't listed in the manual. Instead, you must get them from GTE's worldwide web page, which costs time and money.
Sure does. Chat, remember when we used to have non-unlimited internet and how much that fucking sucked? Yeah. Anyways, we should also try One Must Fall. No! Mortal Kombat 2, I guess, and Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. What about Rise of the Robots? Okay, we did industry news. Wait, did industry news work? Yeah, that worked. Now it's time for Jet Fighter 3.
The popular Jet Fighter simulation series is about to get another big boost with the pending release of Jet Fighter 3, which is being designed to be a sim for the average game player, someone who loves to play fighter sims but doesn't necessarily want to have to learn the equivalent of 6 months of fighter school to play. It includes all the best features found in other high-end fighter sims without having the large learning curve
6 months of fighter school?
With most games of this type. The player is a UN pilot stationed aboard the UNS Peacekeeper, an ironic name for a warship until you realize that the slogan for Jet Fighter 3 is Global Peace Through Deadly Firepower. Anyway, Jet Fighter 3 includes over 100 missions to fly in various parts of the world. These are not historical missions, but missions which could very easily come up in today's world political situation, like Argentina invading Chile or Cuba getting into bed with the Colombian drug cartel. One of the features the designers are very proud about are the huge as well as accurate combat areas. Actual military data was used to create the flight environment of Jet Fighter 3. If a mission takes place in the mountains of South America, the mountains you see are accurate representations of the real thing. Thousands of square miles are correctly recreated and accessed from the CD during the Jet Fighter 3 scenarios. But the techies at Mission Studios made sure that there's none of that annoying pausing that often comes in a flight loading from the CD. The carrier on which the player is stationed, the UNS Peacekeeper, is actually a 3D interactive environment that the player can explore. Using this 3D interface, the player can roam the ship between various stations that provide information for each mission. The pilot's terminal can be accessed to review personal stats and email. There's a trophy cabinet that keeps all the player's awards, and there's a library that can be used to review the various fighters and weapon systems, along with military commentaries. Before each mission, the pilot is briefed in full digital dialogue with digital maps. The graphics in Jet Fighter 3 should certainly be one of the premier features. All of the terrain and cities have been rendered using a razor-sharp texture mapping method, so there's no fuzzing of the landscape when you get very close to the ground or buildings. The missile trails are transparent as the missiles speed away, instead of a solid mass of exhaust that just disappears. The clouds are also transparent when there's a small layer, but get thicker as the player gets deeper into the cloud bank. As mentioned before, the designers are really trying to make Jet Fighter 3 a game which is accessible to any game player and not just hardcore simulation fans. A lot of the procedures like targeting and firing at a bad guy have been reduced to a minimum of key presses. The complexity of the missions and weapon system are still included, but the number of keystrokes and steps that have to be taken to accomplish certain tasks have been reduced and simplified. Of course, there's a trade-off in authenticity when designers start cutting down on things, but it was decided that a lot of the authentic features of an actual jet may, in a PC game, detract from the fun of the game. So, Jet Fighter 3 is an effort to combine the reality of combat in a high-tech fighter without a lot of the complication that's inherent in flying one. Said to be released in September, Jet Fighter 3 is striving to be a common man's uncommon fighter sim. The designers have had a lot of experience designing successful fighter sims, and Jet Fighter 3, while not being designed to be absolutely the most accurate representation of an advanced fighter, is shooting to be
Yeah, this is a real Matt City map. All right, it's time for Kingdom, the Far Reach. Oh, man. Wait, there's a making of tech war feature? They featured that last time, didn't they? Well, we'll see.
Imagine the coin-op classic Dragon's Lair remade
Okay.
with all the interactivity, about half the animation frames, and a third of the excitement.
Imagine Lord of the Rings adapted into an animated computer game by Deke Studios with a script rewrite by Ed Wood.
Yes, it's Kingdom, The Far Reaches, from Virtual Image Productions and Interplay, the game that plays like bad Saturday morning television.
The story really begins a long time before the game starts with the Argent Kings, the group of powerful magicians who ruled with justice.
Oh, I've
over the
played.
5 kingdoms.
They were gonna die soon.
I played the original arcade version of this back in the day. I forget what it was called. Thayer's Quest. I played Thayer's Quest.
Called the Archmage. It would gain huge amounts of power and a nifty little magic-focusing amulet called the Hand, because it had 5 segments.
Wouldn't you know it, there was a great power struggle between 2 brothers, one naughty and one nice, over this amulet. The good guy brother split the hand into its 5 component parts, one for each kingdom.
The bad guy brother managed to take over by brute force, but he knew that if the amulet were ever reunited, it would either give him ultimate control or defeat him completely.
This is, of course, where the player comes in. You are Lathan, the last descendant of the Argent Kings, and you have been instructed in the magic arts by Daylon, one of the last great wizards.
Lately, things have come to a head in the kingdoms, with the rightful ruler having been kidnapped by one of the evil brothers' pawns, Lord Drakesblood. Her name is Princess.
Yeah, the Thayer's Quest cabinet's amazing. And if you type in your name, it says your name. You cannot type in dirty words, though. It will not read them. I had that happen.
Did you say the 3 relics?
That's right. There's the Black Mace, the Hunting Horn, and the Orb of Mobus. 3 relics.
Not 5? I mean, all that stuff in the plot set up about the 5 kingdoms and the amulet being called the Hand and being split into 5 parts? And there's only 3 relics?
Since when do you have to be a math whiz to write an epic saga? But yes, there are only 3 relics in the game.
Is there any explanation? Do they give any account of those other 2 relics?
No, they don't, and you might as well let it slide. The writers of the instruction manual did.
Okay, I can ignore those 2 missing relics, but it's a lot harder to overlook the cheap and chintzy feel of this so-called epic.
It's funny.
That is a membrane keyboard that they would have. Yes, it had a membrane keyboard. The Thayer's Quest cabinet is kind of amazing.
And it's pathetic. Looks worse than the stuff produced by Hanna-Barbera in the late 70s.
Yeah, it looks more like Filmation, the company that produced the Star Trek animated series. Ugh.
I strongly suspect that this game had its origins as a cheaply made fantasy television series, and that Virtual Image got the rights to it and chopped it into one of the appropriate segments to tell the story.
You're wrong. You're totally wrong.
Never actually see a character's face when he talks.
This is an arcade game port, you dinguses.
Reused with new dialogue laid on top.
I'd almost be more impressed if Kingdom was adapted from a TV series. If the animation was actually produced exclusively for the game, then there's just no excuse for the shoddy level of quality.
Actually, the cheap animation might have been a lot more acceptable if the voice acting hadn't been just as incompetent.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's for the fucking
How are you supposed to take Wood Elves
Halcyon and shit.
like this?
Apprentice, the plague magician knows of your quest, and he is waiting in the forest for you.
Bildar, we must consume mass quantities.
Halcyon,
And then there's
yeah.
the water nymphs. They sound like damp smurfs.
Dark enchantment holds it best, so you must use your magic to release the spell of rest.
Oh yeah. Remember the mysterious voice in the temple?
For the blood sword of the Argent Kings, look in the black key.
For the blood sword of the Argent Kings, press 1. If you would like a name directory of ancient relics, press 411.
Okay. Enough cheap laughs at the production values. It's time for the big question. Is there a game under all of this mess?
No.
Just barely. As you travel around the kingdoms, you get to watch the cheap animation. When it stops, you either do something or move on to another location and another clip. And there's not much you can do.
Very, very rarely. There's something on the video that you can pick up. But you have to play Hunt the Pixel every time, just in case. If there's a spell or item you can use in any given situation, it appears here on the log of Kirkwood, also known as the bottom of the screen.
There's no combining of items or anything tricky like that. Just use the right thing at the right time and try not to get killed.
If you do get killed, you have 3 lives, just like in a lot of arcade games. Sometimes when you die, you rematerialize in your mentor's castle. and he seems completely unconcerned and unaware that you're only there because you just bought the farm. Funny stuff.
In its own weird way, the game is actually pretty challenging. It's not an easy thing to find one of the relics, much less all three. There are 2 skill levels, Apprentice and Wizard. The interface is quite easy to use. It's all point and click, shifting back and forth between a map screen and the action.
The box gives lip service to the game being different every time you play. You can't prove it by me. The puzzle stays the same. The danger stays the same. They even stay in the same place. If there were any changing elements, I didn't even find one of them.
But even if there are different courses to
Looking
take,
good there.
Kingdom Far Reaches is sufficiently annoying that most folks would not be interested in seeking them out. The recommended age is 12 and up, but most 12-year-olds I know have a little better taste than that. Not much, but a little.
If you want an animated adventure game, play one of the King's Quest or something. You don't need to waste your time with this thing. It's downright unpleasant.
By the way, you did catch the thing on the box where it says this was only the first game of a series, didn't you?
Luckily for them, this truly was the only one in the series.
The story.
All right. What are the pros of Kingdom the Far Reaches?
There's actually a somewhat challenging adventure under all this garbage, but it may take a while to find it. The interface is very easy, though, to pick up.
And the cons? The cons.
And all of you animation fans should stay far away from this title. It will definitely depress you. It just plain looks and sounds cheap and bad.
We should also try Dragon's Lair and King's Quest VII. I'm pretty sure King's Quest VII is the one with the song about the girl in the tower, which I should call up radio stations and request that. Anyways, I'm pretty sure we saw Making of Tech War last time. I don't think we've done the feature on Did we do the feature on Outpost? Let's see. That was 6 that had Girl in the Tower? Okay, thank you.
We're back with Lifestyles of the Weird and Obscure, and we're live in the wilds of Arkansas, where we'll be interviewing the world's oldest man. Sir?
What year is it? Hey, get that camera out of my face.
Sir, can you tell us the secret of your longevity?
Outpost.
Sorry?
I'm not kicking the bucket until I get to see the version 1.5 upgrade for Outpost.
But they released that in July.
They what? Dad, burn it! Why didn't somebody wake me up?
I've got a copy right here. I'll just boot her up.
So, what's up with this upgrade? Did they stick in all this stuff they said would be in the original release?
Yes, actually, they did.
Trucks?
Yep.
Monorail?
Uh-huh.
Trade with the Rebel Colony? Multiple colonies? AI macro management?
Absolutely.
So, tell me about the features the upgrade adds.
Okay, the first and most obvious one is trucking. For players who like to micromanage transportation of materials, you can set the trucking to manual.
So many bits this issue. Christ.
To the smelter. You set the routes the trucks take and build roads to speed things up.
Do you get to see the little trucks driving around?
No.
Bummer.
Well, if trucking isn't fast enough for you, you can build a monorail.
Bigger, faster truck with a fixed route?
Basically.
Do you get to see it zipping along the track?
Well,
major bummer.
Remember the Rebel Colony? Well, the great news is you can now establish diplomatic contact with them. Once that's accomplished, you can set up a trade agreement, then trade resources with them.
Say, wouldn't it have been better if you could ask for what you needed and then dicker for what they were willing to offer in exchange?
You can also assign an AI to micromanage aspects of your colony once you've developed the technology. Unfortunately, it only handles building. If you've got an AI assigned to, say, subsurface research, it will build lots of labs, but you still have to set what those labs are working on.
Do you get to see it think? That's a joke, son.
Oh, one of the coolest features they added was the ability to build new colonies. Once you've accumulated enough resources, you get a command center tile in the tile picker. You can then place it at least 60 tiles away from your primary colony, build a few support structures and transfer some people, and you've got a functioning second colony. You can also take control of the Rebel Colony and build structures in orbit. So, as you can see, Outpost is now complete.
Outpost is complete,
How about
folks.
that male AI voice?
Greetings, Commander. Welcome to the virtual command environment. I'm the artificial intelligence who will be assisting you.
That make it?
No.
Or did they do anything about that silly pin the tail on a donkey method of picking which planet you travel to? Is there a crime report? specific details about why colonists are dying to help you pinpoint a solution. How about warning messages when you're doing something stupid, like pumping refined minerals all over the ground because you haven't built a doggone storage tank?
Well, no, but...
But nothing. What you're telling me is that even though they've added a whole mess of new features, the game still has some shortcomings, right?
Look, why are we arguing about this? Outpost is a great-looking game, it's a great premise, and with the upgrade, the gameplay is way better than it was before.
Yeah, but it could be even better.
But it's good now.
Not as good as it ought to be! Well, that's that.
They killed him.
I've seen Outpost 1.5, so I might as well look for a bridge to throw myself off.
Wait, don't give up hope yet. There's going to be a sequel.
Oh, what?
A sequel, and it's being designed by Gentry Lee, the co-author of Rama 2 with Arthur C. Clarke. In fact, we'll be talking with Lee about the sequel in an upcoming episode of Lifestyles.
All right. Wake me up when it gets here.
This game was rated the worst PC game of all time by Computer Rating Gaming World. Nice. Okay, I think PS Extreme should work this time. There we go.
Welcome to PS Extreme, the latest video game column in interactive entertainment, featuring news, views, and opinions on Sony's first foray into the video game market, the PlayStation. Scheduled for national release on September 9th, the PlayStation will not come packed with a game in order to keep the retail price at $299. Instead, it will include a sampler disc featuring playable demos of a number of new titles. Titles launching with the system include Ridge Racer, Toshinden, and ESPN Extreme Sports. This month, we will take an advanced look at a few of these titles in preparation for our full coverage of the launch next month. Namco's Ridge Racer, widely regarded as Sony's answer to Sega's Daytona, is an intriguing racing game developed in Japan. Although the game was packed with the Sony PlayStation in Japan, stateside you'll have to put up a good $60 to experience the first-person 3D action. Ridge Racer features 13 different cars to choose from, with each car having its good and bad points, such as handling and acceleration. The actual game includes a number of tracks.
PS Extreme not related to IE at all. It was just the name they decided on for this.
Herein lies the main problem with Ridge Racer. It was a great pack-in game, but with only one real track, it is debatable if the game is worth the price of admission. On the positive side, this title is a faithful demonstrator of the PlayStation's 3D rendering speed. It's a near-perfect arcade rendition. Another interesting feature is that the PlayStation loads the entire game into its memory, so it allows you to insert music CDs and use those as the background music. All in all, Ridge Racer is somewhat monotonous in execution, but sizzles with 3D pizzazz. The fate of the world is in your hands as Sony's first internal game, Kalik, the DNA Imperative.
The DNA Imperative!
Dr. Kim has stumbled onto a terrible DNA configuration and is threatening to destroy the world by creating savage monsters. You suit up in this first-person 3D game a la Doom and search those long corridors for keycards and clues to the whereabouts of the DNA. The frame rate of this game is silky smooth with hardly any slowdown. Still, the concept of searching through confined corridors for keycards becomes tedious after a few levels, and the enemies are not very impressive at all. In the end, Kalik is great technology impeded by a tedious concept.
Kalik!
Namco's Big Daddy, Tekken, will be making its way onto the PlayStation this fall. Tekken is an incredible 3D fighting game which can be described as Virtua Fighter with texture mapping. Great attention has been paid to this title as the arcade unit actually uses the PlayStation hardware. Hence, the home version is arcade perfect, resulting in a very gratifying experience. Crystal Dynamics recently announced their new line of sports titles, Championship Sports, and its first title, 3D Baseball 95. This motion-captured baseball title uses proprietary 3D technology and over 700 Major League Baseball players. With photorealistic stadiums and narration by CD's Vanderl Wright, this game looks truly stunning. These first images of the game look too good to be true, and they are. Although the game now runs on a high-end Silicon graphics machine, it'll be interesting how it looks on the home platforms later this year. Scheduled for release on the PlayStation and Saturn, the game stars Claudia Christian of Babylon 5 fame. Sporting a frame rate that will make you break out in sweat, this game looks extremely hot with in-your-face action. Although these shots are just early images from the game, we hope to have more information on this title next month. 3DO's little green friend Gex will be sliming his way onto the PlayStation in early '96.
Druid Demons of the Mind has a great box, thank you.
with 250,000 copies.
We got Gex!
And it was no surprise that Crystal Dynamics will be moving him over to the other next-generation platforms in the near future. Finally, we couldn't help but give you another look at Psygnosis' incredible stock car racing game, Destruction Derby. This game, which was one of the true bright spots at the recent E3 Expo, will crash its way onto the PlayStation in late 1995. We will have more information on this.
Cheeseburger Cats, thanks for the follow.
Extreme information.
Yes.
Until then, happy gaming.
Happy fucking game. Hey, no. We're going back. Okay, we did that. We did the Saturn. We're almost done, chat. Okay, next up is Shannara.
Terry Brooks' Shannara novels are the most popular fantasy series in the history of anything, according to the New York Times. Is it any wonder that the property is being furiously worked into a computer game by Legend Entertainment, the company that brought you Deathgate from Margaret Wise and Tracy Hickman's fantasy book series last year? The game Shannara takes place in the middle of the 50-year stretch between the first two books, The Sword of Shannara and The Elfstones of Shannara. Shannara's designers are Laurie and Corey Cole, who are best known for their irreverent Quest for Glory series for Sierra. If adapting this epic fantasy series seems like a bit of a departure for the Coles, well, it is.
Now, in general, this is a contrast to our Quest for Glory games in that this is a serious high fantasy game, as opposed to Quest for Glory was kind of a mixture of high fantasy and humor. We've kept the bad puns out of this, and you really have a serious storyline that you're participating in.
The first Shannara book revolves around defeating Brona the Warlock King, who can only be killed with the Sword of Shannara, which can only be wielded by Shea Omsford, the last descendant of the Elven King Jurl Shannara. The game begins some 20 years later with Brona raised from the dead and Shea's son Jack having to play the hero this time.
Brona isn't stupid, so the first thing he does when he's raised from the ghost is he does a very powerful magical working that reaches across space to where they've set up the Sword of Shannara in a kind of a shrine in the city of Tircis and destroys it. What he does is he basically breaks it into multiple pieces so it can't be used against him.
And if you thought Brona was a jerk when he was alive, you ain't seen nothing yet.
The Warlock Lord is again seeking revenge upon all the people that stopped him the last time, plus he's once again trying to overthrow the world. The problem is this time he's dead, and so he doesn't care if anybody is alive because he can rule the dead now. So his goal...
Hey, Stepaside, thank you for the 50 bits. I missed that earlier. Thank you.
living things so that he can rule over the entire world.
To defeat Brona this time, Jack is going to have to recreate the sword, and this is not just a matter of scraping together enough metal to fit in the forge.
Jack's quest is that he must go and gather all of the magic, a magic item that is representative of each of the races of man in the Four Lands, and he must find someone from each of those races who can help him to use that magic, and all of them together are needed in order to be able to reforge the sword.
While Shannara is primarily an adventure game, Jack will also have to lead a party in combat.
Basically, a custom screen comes up. We have a close-up of the monster you're currently facing in the center of it, and you can see the other monsters in the battle. You can see your other party members. And each of your party members acts on their own initiative and does what's appropriate to their character, whether it's fighting or defending or using magic. When it comes around to Jack's turn, it's the player's turn. He can give orders to the other characters because he is the leader, and can also then act on his own.
So it becomes much more of a tactical strategy kind of a battle game, so that you can plan your moves and plan what you think the other character should do. And for the most part, they'll follow orders, but every once in a while they have a mind of their own, and they will not necessarily always take your orders if they think it's wrong for them.
To help the player keep up with the story, Jack busily keeps a journal that can be read at any time.
As you play through the game and perform important accomplishments, we automatically add in journal entries that cover the most important conversations and actions that happen. So later in the game, the player does not have to keep notes on a piece of paper and go back and say, well, let's see, what did I do back then? You can refer back to the journal at any point, flip through it, look at any of the past entries, remind yourself of what has gone on before, and in addition, the player can add to the journal.
As with Deathgate, Shannara will have dazzling visuals and exciting music to back up its strong story.
This is by far the most ambitious game that Legends has attempted. I think we have 2 or 3 times the budget of any of their previous efforts, and we're up basically Sierra numbers for budget, hopefully used more efficiently than Sierra managed to use them. We have a lot of 3D sequences in it. We have opening and ending sequences and cutscenes throughout, plus the combat are all done in 3D. We're using the Fat Man and Team Fat to...
Fat Man!
While Genre will certainly appeal to Terry Brooks fans, special care has been taken to assure that players don't have to be at all familiar with the novels to enjoy the game.
You do not need to read the books to play this game. It is very enjoyable on its own merits. If you have read the first book in the series, The Sword of Shanara, that will add another level of dimension to it. In fact, if you've read the later books, you'll be able to pick up some of the references in here and sort of smile knowing the way they actually are going to turn out. But
Corey and Lori still up to it? Nice.
Characters in the books haven't
Still doing
haven't
it.
had the benefit of seeing the future, so they do quite fine without knowing that.
All right. Let's take a look at Sim Isle.
Smiles, everyone. Smiles.
Hey, boss, what are we smiling for?
Because
Who likes Fantasy Island jokes? Who likes Fantasy Island bits?
Is it as good as the SimCity games were?
No, not quite as good as SimCity or SimCity 2001.
Actually, boss, you mean SimCity 2000.
Ah, so it is. You ever correct me again and you're fine.
Thank you, Waka66, for the follow. Sorry about the bits.
Games, but it is actually quite fun.
Hey, boss, what can we do on Sim Isle?
I'm glad you asked that, my diminutive domestic underling. The player is in charge of many different islands, one at a time, of course. And it's his job to make sure that things like natural resources and natives and tourism are handled correctly.
So the player just has to develop the islands to make lots of money?
That's certainly part of it, Klaatu.
Actually, my name is...
Oh, look, here's your contract.
Never mind, go on.
While there are financial considerations, Sim Isle is mission-based. Each island has its own needs that the player must take care of. Unlike SimCity, Sim Isle has a definite win-or-lose structure.
So, boss, how does the player go about developing these islands?
There are headquarters on each island, which house several agents. The agents are assigned tasks by the player.
What kinds of things can these agents do, boss?
Well, Shamu, each agent has one or more skills like construction, employment, and knowing the local culture. When the player wants a task completed, he just assigns the agent with the right skill.
See, boss, this doesn't sound like a very difficult game. I mean, it sounds even like you could play it.
Don't let Sim Isle fool you into thinking that, Ragu. In Sim Isle, even accomplishing the most simple-sounding task require much work, much attention.
Come on, boss. How hard could something like Sim Isle be?
Take the tutorial island, for example. The task there was to locate an exotic animal, export 100 specimens of it, and attract 1,000 tourists to the island. Finding the animal was no problem, but what came after was a different story.
Oh, no, not another story.
Igloo.
Oh, please, boss. Please tell me a story.
You see, I had to protect the animal by building a game reserve. But while I had the money, I didn't have the local manpower needed to build it. But the local villages had neither the population nor the training to help me build. So I sent an agent to train the villagers in more efficient farming.
Why did you teach them farming? You wanted them to help you build.
Yes, but they didn't have enough people to help me. So I had to show them how to increase their population. Once that was done, I sent an agent to train them to the point that they were unskilled labor. Then they helped me build the game reserve. But then poachers started killing the animals, so I had to hire wardens to keep the poachers away. The only trouble is that wardens are skilled labor, which comes from the city, but there was no city on my island. However, there was a town that I could increase to the size of a city, and on it went. It's like I've been saying for years, taking care of an island is not an easy thing.
What would you know? I'm the one who does everything while you walk around in your white tux smoking cigars.
What was that, Canoe?
Nothing, boss. You're absolutely right.
There was something that bothered me about Sim Isle, Kazoo. It was some of the graphics.
Bothers you, boss? Why do you even worry about the graphics? Just forget about it.
It tasks me. It tasks me.
I had to take my headphone off, chat. We've got 2 more pages of this shit.
Are all muddled together. Sure, the view from far out is fine, but when you try to build something, it's tough just to tell where the land is flat and where it is steep.
How could you ever figure out where to build then?
Sim Isle helps out by changing the color of the cursor wherever you place it over a buildable piece of land. Why Sim Isle didn't choose the terrain of SimCity 2000, I'll never know. It was much better. The interface was actually very nice. Everything was laid out where it's very easy to see. All of the controls are very intuitive, very understandable.
But why this sour face, boss?
Because Some parts of the interface tasked me. It tasked me!
The elbows, boss! The elbows!
Sorry, Achu. But most of the time, there are obnoxious pauses between executing functions after I click on them. And the interface doesn't provide a look at all of the capabilities of all of the agents at one time. I kept having to click on them individually and remembering their capabilities.
But did you have a good time playing Sim
It's
Iron
almost
Boss?
over.
Actually, Kung Fu, I did have a good time. Most of the big flaws with the game are technical, but not really part of the gameplay. And the problems with the gameplay are fairly minor, leaving the game by and large to be enjoyed. Simile is a very good addition to the Max's series of games.
It sounds like the folks who dislike SimCity because there was really no winning or losing should like Sim Iron because you get to build and develop things and still have missions that you can win or lose. Look, boss! The plane! The plane!
Zulu, stop waving your arms like that. Put your arms down. Don't wave your...
Oh, no!
Oh, I'm going to...
no. Does this mean I'm fired, boss?
It just seemed like another sad case of people killing each other.
Oh my god, that was hell.
Smiles.
Okay, what are the pros?
It just seemed like another sad case of people killing each other.
One project depends on completing other projects is incorporated into gameplays, makes for a challenging but enjoyable time.
What are the cons?
The terrain graphics aren't what I expected from the makers of SimCity.
My life is nothing but pain.
Responses.
We should also try SimCity 2000, Sim Farm, and Sim Earth. I feel like my life force has been drained by that review. Oh my god. Time for Star Rangers.
Wild Bill Steely, the president of Interactive Magic, obviously had a deeply moving experience when he played his first video game, Star Raiders. His fledgling company's latest game, Star Rangers, is done in the same style as that wonderful game of yesteryear. Not just a shooter, the designers of Star Rangers are throwing in a healthy dose of strategy, making it a shooter for the thinking man, person. The Star Rangers are a team of folks who patrol the galactic border against whatever baddies may come along.
Hey, it's back
Based
to
on the
normal. Are
legendary
we? I
Texas
feel.
Rangers who defended their territory against Mexican banditos. The Star Rangers must protect their portion of the galaxy from raiding aliens, who are aiming to get a foothold on whatever territory they can. In a departure from linear mission assignments found in games like Wing Commander and TIE Fighter, the player decides for himself where to go and who to fight. Beginning with a map which shows the current situation, the player must place sonar buoys in the unknown areas of space to monitor enemy movement. Using this information and factoring in considerations like time and fuel, the player must plan strategic attacks to defend against the enemy. Being billed as a kind of intergalactic chess, strategy plays a large part in Star Rangers. When the enemy starts to close in, it's not always wise to just attack the enemies that are the closest. The player will have to defend civilian outposts and star bases, which means being at the right place at the right time. The player must use his time and positioning wisely in order to save a base that's under attack and get back to a civilian sector in time to protect it from a raid. There is a very small bit of role-playing in Star Rangers. Successful completion of missions and campaigns will mean promotion through the ranks. The player also has a choice of 5 wingmen to help with the fight. Each wingman has their own skill levels and attributes like shooting and flying. As in other games, the player can give the wingman orders like cover me and attack my target. But in Star Rangers, the player can also assign the wingman to other sectors of the galaxy. The wingman doesn't have to hang right by the player's side throughout the entire game. The Star Ranger ship can be outfitted with different weapons throughout the game. Sometimes the player will find upgrades on a ship that was successfully protected through enemy territory, and some weapons will be found on civilian outposts and star bases which the player must protect. Mostly lasers and missiles, there should be around 8 different weapon types when released. Although based on a game from years ago, the presentation should be totally 90s, featuring animated cutscenes, SVGA graphics, digital sound effects, an original soundtrack, realistic feeling flight models, and 7 different enemy types. Expansion missions discs are being considered, along with plans to put Star Rangers online. Star Rangers should appeal to both experienced and novice gamers alike. The campaign mode, which features 17 missions, should have enough action and strategy to keep veteran gamers happy, and the arcade mode, which allows lots of flying and shooting, lets novice gamers get used to things before delving into the deeper parts of the game. Based on a tried-and-true game design with lots of state-of-the-art features, Star Rangers is set to be released in October.
All right. Did we see the strategy news or did that fail on us? No, we didn't see this, so
We'll
let's
lead off
go.
this month's strategy news with a rumor. Word is that Baltimore-based Monarch Avalon is looking to sell its gaming arm, Avalon Hill. Monarch has a treasure trove of strategy board games such as Advanced Civilization and Squad Leader, and is in the midst of its third attempt to establish a foothold in the computer game market. There's no official word that the company is for sale, but work on the much-awaited Beyond Squad Leader has been suspended, reportedly due to a financial squabble between designer Atomic Games and Avalon Hill. Stay tuned for more information as it becomes available. Speaking of Avalon Hill, the company's former vice president Jim Rose has linked a distribution deal for his new game company Talonsoft. Intracorp, the parent company of Capstone, will distribute Talonsoft's products, with the Windows World War II strategy game Battleground Ardennes scheduled as the first release. For those of you who liked the online game Air Warrior, Interactive Magic will be putting out a boxed version of the game at the beginning of '96. Lots of folks going online for the first time in Air Warrior get shot down very early by the more experienced players, so the boxed version is geared to help players prepare for the online game. Featured in the release will be 23 planes from World War I, World War II, and the Korean War. This box version will also be modem capable for play against a friend. Also coming from Interactive Magic is a game tentatively titled Dynasties. It's being developed as a strategy game which follows the evolution of man over a 200-year period, with the player cast in the role of a tribal leader. Gameplay will include interaction with other tribes, coming up with new inventions, traveling the world, and more. Featuring both 2D and 3D views, Dynasties is scheduled for release in the first half of '96. Psygnosis is working on the sequel to its popular Simon the Sorcerer, with the aptly named Further Adventures of Simon the Sorcerer. No word yet as to what will be included or when it will be released.
All right, we got the strategy news, but what about TFX EF2000? That's,
As the latest addition to Ocean's
Hey, it's not a bit. They're not doing a bit, chat. Chat, they're not doing a bit. Oh my God, we might make it through without another bit.
The Sims creators, Digital Image Design, also designed the original TFX Tactical Fighter simulation. Their latest project puts you in the cockpit of NATO's latest, most sophisticated jet fighter aircraft, the EF-2000. Combining new generation 3D graphics and state-of-the-art polygon mapping techniques with accurate declassified military data, the designers are looking to create a new level of realism never before experienced in a combat flight simulation. TFX EF-2000 was designed with the cooperation of British Aerospace, one of the European designers involved in the construction of the actual aircraft. Input from both an ex-RAF defense pilot and an active officer have provided invaluable information and allowed Digital Image Design to ensure the realism of the game's interactive cockpit. The EF-2000 was designed by a multinational European consortium and is primarily an air defense weapon. However, the plane's versatile design also lends it to being a perfect ground attack platform. Produced as a joint venture amongst the UK, Italy, Germany, and Spain, the EF-2000 is a light, highly agile 4-plane configured air-to-air fighter with secondary air-to-ground capability, as well as some stealth characteristics. It has a maximum altitude level speed of Mach 2 and a combat radius of 500 nautical miles. Although the plane will not see active duty until the next millennium, tests have shown that the EF-2000 is technically superior to any other combat aircraft currently in the skies. TFX EF-2000 does not leave the pilot out on his own to battle the enemy. Network play allows up to 8 players to engage in simultaneous interactive combat. Even on a single-player setup, full control of up to 4 intelligent wingmen for air-to-air and air-to-ground combat missions provides added security. The campaign structure has also received special attention, including the addition of an accurate, target-rich 400-square-kilometer geographical battleground, which was reproduced from military charts, and an artificial intelligence battlefield generation program that will add realism to the sim. The storyline has a Russian force encroaching into Norwegian and Swedish territory in an attempt to gain a strong foothold in Northern Europe. A war of attrition has broken out, and conventional forces are embroiled in a bitter conflict. The player's squadron is called upon to perform a number of airborne tasks, ranging from flying combat air patrol to performing precision strategic ground strikes. Players have the option to either get straight into the thick of things by following a set pattern of missions, or to use the game's sophisticated conflict generation program and play out an entire campaign. TFX EF-2000 calls on the next generation of radar and weapons guidance systems which are featured in the actual fighter. This, along with the most detailed 3D world ever presented in a combat flight simulation, will leave the sim enthusiast in us all anxiously awaiting the fall release.
All right. What about the dig?
As multimedia technology improves from year to year, LucasArts continues to produce games that are increasingly sophisticated. It may soon be that their game ventures are on a production level par with the films of their namesake, George Lucas. The current showstopper in production is called The Dig, and it's based on an unpublished short story by Steven Spielberg.
Oh.
The Dig was not just any story, but turned out to be the seed for a much-loved Spielberg creation. We talked about these origins with project leader Sean Clark.
It was a story idea that Spielberg came up with, was looking for a vehicle for it, was thinking about a short television show, kind of an episode thing, and from that was born the Amazing Stories concept. This was never done for that or in any other form, mostly I believe for cost of the sets.
The story begins with the appearance of a huge asteroid in an unstable orbit around the Earth. The player takes on the role of NASA Commander Boston Lowe, who is given the mission to stabilize it.
You have two people with you, one's a geologist, one's a journalist going up there to sort of help PR for the NASA agency. The three of you get whisked away to this alien world, and this is where the real story actually begins.
The asteroid changes into an alien spaceship and whisks the crew away to an unknown world in this spectacular scene created by the wizards at Industrial Light and Magic, George Lucas's famous special effects house. While this is a really impressive sequence, we here at IE have seen it a few too many times already. Fortunately, ILM is also responsible for a few other scenes in the game. When stranded on an alien world, it's good to have some resourceful and intelligent people with you. Boston Lowe is lucky to have the company he does.
One of the other people that's with you is a geologist named Luker Brink, sort of European, highly renowned geologist/archaeologist. He's very refined in his approach to science, and so he'll try to take a very calm, studying approach, scholarly approach, trying to solve the mystery that is there. And then Maggie Robbins is the journalist who's with you, who's very resourceful. She used to do investigative journalism in far-off places, is used to sort of the survival mode, and is very headstrong and very independent, and also very smart, and has a tendency to pick up languages fairly quickly. When you have three strong personalities trapped on an alien world, things are going to get a little weird. You're going to have tension, you're going to have greed. Every alien artifact they find, if they ever get home, is worth, it's priceless, right? And so then one of the crew sort of gets involved in collecting stuff for the trip home. I'm going to get home and I'm going to be rich and I'm going to be famous and that kind of thing. And then the others are more like, well, we really need to get home. We have to tell the story. We have to learn how to survive here. We need a command structure, and everything is questioned because all bets are off as soon as they land on this alien world.
While it may be tricky to figure out how to proceed with your highly strung crew, at least implementing your decisions will be easy, thanks to the most streamlined interface LucasArts has ever come up with. Pop-up inventory screen, but it doesn't have the verb interface at the bottom.
It's got the pop-up inventory screen. It doesn't have the verb interface at the bottom of the screen anymore, like books and mags. The only verb you really have is the look at verb. For the rest of the time, all you have to do is click on something, and it will do contextually what it's supposed to do. If it's supposed to pick it up, it will pick up the object. If it's supposed to open something, it will open it. If it's supposed to just say something about it, it'll just say something about whatever it is that you clicked on. So it makes the interface a lot breezier. You don't have to figure out which verb it is you're supposed to use with which object.
The Dig will combine the human drama of the Treasure of the Sierra Madre with the otherworldly setting of Forbidden Planet. It will also have one of the most extensive marketing campaigns ever created for a computer game, including a novelization published by Warner Books and
anyone read the novelization?
CD soundtrack from Polygram. Given George Lucas's interest in licensing, maybe there'll even be action figures. We'll find out when The Dig breaks through this October.
Imagine getting an action figure for The Dig.
The Orion Conspiracy is a murder mystery set in the future on the edge of a black hole. It's got SVGA graphics, sample digital speech, and a point-and-click interface.
And that doesn't stop it from being thoroughly lame and annoying. This game was developed by Divide by Zero, the same people who brought you Innocent Until Caught and Guilty, neither of which would exactly be called a classic.
But Orion Conspiracy, which is distributed by Domark and Spectrum Holobyte, is actually worse.
The novelization is okay.
It's a CD-ROM full of wasted
nice.
Potential, and frankly, it depresses me that these folks could release this game in good conscience.
The story is actually pretty intense and intriguing. There's a space station on the edge of a black hole, and one day a young crewman named Danny goes out to do some routine maintenance on the outer surface. Something goes wrong, and he falls into the hole.
The player is Danny's dad, Devlin McCormick, who has come to visit the station for the funeral. Someone slips a note under his door telling him that Danny's death was not accidental, but murder.
So it's up to you, in a fit of parental anguish, to learn the truth about your son's death. But beware, you can't trust anyone. That's why they put the word conspiracy in the title like that.
So, starting at the very beginning, this game got on my nerves before the title screen even showed up. I was not able to load up both the background music and the voice track at the same time. I had to choose one or the other no matter how I configured the memory on my P60.
Yeah, I ended up choosing the voice track because it was much funnier that way.
What do you mean funnier? This is not exactly a cheerful story.
No, but the voice acting is often so bad as to give you a good chuckle. Here's a bit from the ever-serious funeral scene, with Devlin delivering a heart-wrenching monologue.
To lose someone close to you, it hurts. Like no physical pain can hurt.
Now, the graphics on Orion Conspiracy are in fact a good bit better than the previous Divide by Zero games.
Yeah, take a look at this spaceship scene, for example.
And then keep looking at it, because the spaceships were the only thing they decided it was worth the trouble to render in 3D. See? The pretty ship docks in the ugly, badly colored 2D port.
That's bad planning. Kids, here's today's tip for Game Design 101. If you want to hide an ugly graphic, don't put it in the same screen with a really nice one.
Of course, most of the game looks like this. While the sprites are pretty well done, all the characters are more or less the same height and build, even the women.
And you're constantly looking at everyone from this funky three-quarter perspective. Throw in the short loop of body language, and you have some of the most awkward-looking conversations you've ever experienced.
It would have been so much more engaging if the designers had even considered the possibility of changing the camera angle every once in a while. I mean, the whole damn game takes place in a space station. Gray corridors, gray rooms, gray elevators. It's so dull! You have to do something to get people visually involved in the game.
Have to?
Well, okay. Apparently you don't have to. But it sure would have been a good idea.
Okay, can I complain about the gameplay now?
Sure, I can't have all the fun.
The actual interface is really
well,
easy to
they may be losing it, but they're not doing any bits, so...
Pops up at the bottom of the screen. Right-click to select your action or item, and left-click to do it. The screen is full of hotspots that show up when you pass the cursor over them.
This all sounds pretty good so far.
And it would be, except that the hotspots generally don't do anything unless you happen to be around at exactly the right time. Your possibilities are so limited, it's pathetic. For example, here's the gym. Look at this exercise bike. Click on it and hear Delvin say,
It's one of those exercise bikes.
Sure is.
The only thing you can do is use the exit. Then there's the puzzles. After your options have been streamlined to a straight line, you are then confronted with puzzles that cross the line from challenging to downright obscure.
Translation. More than once, player Bob is going to be locked into a situation where he absolutely can't do anything else until he solves the puzzle, and he hasn't the foggiest idea how to do that. That's just not cool.
But don't worry, before this happens too often, the game will probably either bore or irritate you into just turning the darn thing off and playing Tetris.
The Orion Conspiracy is a dud, through and through. A worthwhile story and some powerful resources have been slapped together by a team that apparently didn't have a clue as to what makes a successful game.
Oh, I know. Let's have some 3D rendered spaceships. Everybody loves those.
And because those spaceships are
okay, a little bit of a bit.
I'll show you a few more shots of them, free of charge.
Oh my!
Oh.
Very nice.
Yeah, they had to get the bit in at the end.
Oh, very nice. Yes.
All right. Sorry, I'm kind of dying here. Let's check out the pros.
There are a few nicely rendered cutscenes, and the actual storyline is quite unpredictable and intense.
Cons?
Bad voice acting, boring gameplay graphics, ridiculously obscure puzzles, and no fun at all, basically.
Cool. What should we also try? Under a Killing Moon and Beneath a Steel Sky. Okay. All right, Ultimate Doom.
Doom was and still is an awesome game. But I pretty much stopped playing it as soon as Doom 2 came out.
Me too. A new weapon, lots of nasty new monsters, and great levels. Why play Doom 1 when there's Doom 2?
And why release the Ultimate Doom? Yes, it's better than the original version of Doom, but how many people are going to buy it now that they're playing Doom 2?
Not too many, I wouldn't think. Yeah, Ultimate Doom has some cool new stuff, but is it worth buying the game again for?
Ultimate Doom upgrades
Excuse
Doom's
me?
operating system to version 1.9.
That's nice. It doesn't really make much difference to most of us, but it's nice.
It also includes the 4-part official Doom fact file, which is a great source of Doom information.
Yeah,
ooh, the Doom fact file!
The files are useful because they answer pretty much every question you can think up about Doom, but you can download them from multiple sites for practically nothing. They aren't much of an incentive for buying this package. Another addition is the inclusion of the software that will connect you to Dwango, a multiplayer Doom service. You can dial up and find an opponent day or night.
And pay long-distance charges and fees to Dwango by the minute. This is only useful if you're really hard up for people to play Doom with. Now, Ultimate Doom also includes Death Manager, a shell for the setup program.
That's no big deal either. It's the same program that shipped with Heretic, and it's not that useful. It barely even handles WAD files. There are plenty of Doom front-end programs out there that are much better.
None of these trinkets are the real attraction for Ultimate Doom, though. What will catch people's interest is the
I think this would predate Game Facts, yeah.
Flesh Consumed. This is a 4th level group, and it's your punishment for completing the game.
It's the most fun you'll ever have being punished. These 8 levels are brutal. They're designed more in the style of Doom 2 and are much harder than anything you saw in Doom 1. No one can make levels quite like id can.
Thy Flesh Consumed doesn't waste any time. From the get-go, you'll be surrounded with monsters. It seems like you never run out of things to shoot.
And not just the puny little humans and imps either. You'll encounter a Baron of Hell on the first level of Thy Flesh Consumed. Plus, the monsters have the nasty habit of teleporting into a room you just left and sneaking up behind you, which creates an unsettling claustrophobic feeling. It's great.
The monsters tend to attack you in combined forces, and often from more than one area at the same time. One of the keys to survival in Thy Flesh Consumed is getting the monsters to attack each other instead of you.
That technique is also great for conserving ammo. You'll be well supplied with weapons, but with all these monsters, ammunition can get pretty scarce. Whenever you can get the monsters to do some of the dirty work for you, go for it.
Like Doom 2, Thy Flesh Consumed tests your ability to remain cool under fire. There's a lot of narrow ledges and tricky jumps to contend with here, usually while you're being shot at by imps and cacodemons.
Make a wrong move and you'll usually drop straight into a pool of hot blood or hell slime. This will prove frustrating to some people, but there's always a way out. The guys at id are fair, they're just not nice.
It's hard for us to say whether you should buy the Ultimate Doom or not. If you don't have a copy of Doom, this is the way to get it. But if you've already shelled out the bucks for Doom and Doom 2...
Hey, Gumbertian! Oh my gosh, thank you so much for the sub! Thank you! And welcome! We're almost finished with this issue.
But there's an awful lot of WADs out there, and they're all free. If you simply must have
True, the free WADs are fun.
With Doom, get this. If you're not, don't consider Ultimate Doom any sort of must-have.
All right, but what are the pros for this bad boy?
The levels of Thy Flesh Consumed are a good representation of what the designers at id are capable of. They are tricky, well-designed levels which feature a good blend of puzzle-solving finesse and maximum carnage.
And the cons?
The included Doom FAQ files are available for download practically everywhere.
Yeah,
and Dwango and Death Manager have only modest appeal. If you've already played through Doom, you won't get a whole lot for the money here.
But we should also try Doom 2, Heretic, and of course, Rise of the Triad Classic. All right, time for Tony La Russa Baseball 3!
Hi, everyone. Welcome to... Interactive Entertainment's one and only sports talk show.
Chad, I think it's time for bits!
Along with my broadcast
Time for
partner,
bits!
the insufferable Throg. It's a great day for a ball game, wouldn't you say?
We got some bits!
Throg want to go back to hell.
Today's game is Tony La Russa Baseball 3.
They got Thrall here!
We'll be taking a look at the ins and outs of the game and discussing why you should or should not buy it.
Throg says buy Doom, more aliens, more blood.
Well, it seems Throg's already made up his mind. As you may recall, the first 2 Tony La Russa games were published by SSI. Stormfront took over the license and has really reworked the entire game, making it more of a multimedia title. The graphics are now 640 by 480 VGA, and digitized commentary from Tony La Russa himself is included in the CD.
Throg not understand rules of baseball.
Thank you, Cat Bertine, for the 100-bit bits. Thank you.
What specifically didn't you understand?
Throg not know how to win. Throg knock out umpire with pitch and still get no points.
Well, maybe you should try batting, Throg. Speaking of which, let's take a look at the game's action mode. If you've ever played any baseball game before, you're probably already familiar with the pitcher-batter view shown here. I found this the easiest view to use, but TLB3 offers a few different views and even a couple different graphics resolutions.
Where he get club?
What'd you say, Throg?
Man, I played that club. Throg want club.
That's a bat, Throg. We already discussed this, remember?
Throg want club.
Well, pitching and batting are easy enough. You choose your pitch or swing style.
Yeah, I at least like Throg. I have a soft spot for their Throg impersonation, I'm not gonna lie.
And attention. Use a joystick if you have one. While the arcade play mode is fun, especially with 2 players, the real meat of LaRussa 3 is in its management features such as...
Meat? Where meat? Throg hungry.
I was talking about the game, Throg. There's no food here. Although you might find a hot dog vendor somewhere.
Throg get meat after review over.
Okay, good idea. Say, what do you think of the team management options? It looks like you can do anything a real manager does during a game. Assign pinch and designated hitters, work the bullpen, heck, you can even argue with the umpire.
Throg rather kill umpire. Throg no like talk.
Well, how about off the field options? You can make roster moves, bring kids up from AAA, make trades. Seems pretty complete to me.
Throg like trading. Throg trade for pitcher who hit.
Good call. Most pitchers aren't that good at the plate, but...
No! Throg want pitcher who can hit batter with ball. Throg like fastball pitcher. Fastball do more damage.
I'm with Throg.
Statistical accuracy is important in a baseball game, and TLB3 stats are pretty true to form. You can import old statistics from either Tony La Russa Baseball 2 or from historical data discs from third-party companies. If you like
Chat.
and who doesn't.
Sorry to interrupt the baseball, but I'm seeing Godzilla tomorrow. I'm really excited. I'm going to the theater.
Throg use draft to get big pitcher.
No relation to Throg. I'm excited. I've never seen a Godzilla movie in the theater before.
And a rotisserie format, which lets teams buy computer-generated and real players for different prices.
Throg think Doom should have draft. Throg draft.
I wish it was Throgzilla. No, it's not a new Godzilla. They're just showing the return of Godzilla from 1984 at the Alamo Draft House. So
the GM challenge mode.
I'm excited. I got a free ticket for donating blood. And I was like, okay, cool. Free. If you give people your blood, you might be able to see free Godzilla.
With your team, Throg?
Throg's team win World Series in 4 years.
Wow. How'd you do that, Throg? Alter a few stats here and there?
And I'm just, I have to donate blood again because, you know, it's time for me to donate again. And this time they're giving away, and I shit you not, a free pint of ice cream. So I'm extremely excited. It's Amy's ice cream too, so that's really good.
Pluses or minuses depending on the time of year. This is one good way to incorporate the.
Oh, I bet Back to the Future was good in a theater. Yeah.
I like it. Like Sierra's front
Amy's
page
ice cream.
Baseball, Tony La Russa 3 prides itself on the fact that either the player or the computer can take control of just about any
it's a pint for a pint, exactly.
On or off the field. The manager and scouting profile screens are another good example of how Stormfront.
No, I actually really like our local blood bank because they give out good stuff. They I've gotten free tacos, free movie ticket, I'm getting free ice cream.
Throg do everything Throg self.
That's up to you, Throg, although you may find it easier to...
You say computer smarter than Throg, Throg get angry.
Maybe we better hurry this up. Perhaps the slickest feature of La Russa 3 is its rendered stadiums. All 28 Major League ballparks have been beautifully and accurately designed in SVGA.
Okay, what is 4DX like? I heard from other people that if you have a bad back, 4DX can really mess you up. I heard the seats move like really crazy.
Stadium builder, but given the game's history of expansion,
I've been curious about 4DX, but I'm terrified of it hurting my back.
Out of time, so to sum up, I'm impressed with Tony La Russa Baseball 3. Especially the management.
Yeah, the seat movement is why I haven't gotten to see a 4DX, but I'm very curious.
Better one for your SNES or Genesis. Look at this game and Sierra's FPS baseball before you make a choice. Throg
think game okay too, but need more blood and more weapons. Club and ball boring. Throg hungry. Go now.
See you next time, folks.
Throg, I'm also hungry. Chat, I'm having brisket sausage for dinner. I know all I'm doing is just bragging about how nice my life is right now. I feel bad. I feel like I'm bragging, but I'm really excited. All right, but what are the pros of La Russa?
La Russa 3 is definitely the most complete baseball game yet. It's got drafts, trades, minor league players, stat editors, you name it. It's also got the best looking graphics around and some great digitized announcing. In short, it has what you want.
All right, what are the cons?
What LaRussa 3 doesn't have is a gradual learning curve. There are more menus than are necessary, and it can become confusing at times what you're supposed to do next. Also, the Action Arcade mode has nothing on Sierra's FPS Baseball. Pitchers can't adjust the speed of their throws, and you can't see player ratings on screen during a game. What LaRussa 3 doesn't have.
Okay, yeah. We should also try Front Page Sports Baseball and the Hardball series. Okay, what is next? Ultimate Football.
There's an
Look at this!
honkin' ton of sport games out on the market, so any new product would have to be pretty darn good to get noticed.
It looks like Microprose knew what it was doing when it designed all
This music is weird, I like it.
Because it has the features to make it one of the premier football games out there.
The great thing about Ultimate Football 95 is that this is a game for the PC, allowing the player to set up leagues, edit stats, and stuff like that. It doesn't just play like some empty translation of a Nintendo game.
Speaking of empty, we thought it appropriate to invite Buffy, the captain of the IE cheerleading squad, to help us
Hey, we
review
got
Ultimate
another
Football
bit!
95.
Come on, y'all, yell. Come on, yell, y'all. Woo!
Ultimate Football 95 has two different styles of playing, the coaching mode and the action mode.
The coaching mode.
Go coaching mode.
The coaching mode lets the player act as, what else? The coach, who substitutes players, calls the plays, and watches his team perform.
The action mode
Go action mode. Woo!
is where the player actually gets to be part of the action. The player still calls the plays and subs players, but now when the ball is hiked, the player controls the ball carrier.
Plays are called using the play menu, which brings up a list of the plays in each team's playbook. The player cycles through each play using either a list of the play names or by cycling through each individual play's diagram.
Yay! Go diaphragm. Woo!
Should I tell her?
Think it would matter?
Good point. Anyway, this menu is the weakest part of the game.
Chad, I'm suffering. I'm dying. My life energy is zapping out of my body as we speak. She does feel like Go Yafa.
Including filters in the system, so if you want a passing play that is designed for medium yardage, the menu will only show you passing plays designed for medium yardage.
It helps, but
My
I just wish that it
life
would
is
show me more than
nothing
one
but
play at a time.
pain.
Having to cycle through all the individual plays just takes too much time. It could have been more efficient.
Once you get used to the menu system, everything else is great. When you play in action mode, on offense you're the guy with the ball, and on defense you choose which defender you want to be.
Offensively, once you hike the ball, the play is in your hand. You control whoever has the ball, and if you're the quarterback, any handoffs, fakes, or pitches are made automatically. But you do have control when the quarterback must pass or run with the ball.
When passing, the quarterback tries for the main receiver.
Oh, that reminds me, like my best friend Missy, you know, she like gave me some money to get like a Diet Coke, and it's like funny, you know, because I like still need to give her a quarter back.
As the quarterback, you wait until your receiver is open and then throw the ball. You just wait for your man and fire.
Some folks will probably
Chad, I wish you could see my face. It's deflated. I look like I feel like a deflated, just the deflated inflate. I'm deflated.
This game is the camera view. Ultimate Football 95
The 40 legs have, okay, the 40X, I knew it had a leg tickler. I didn't know, I heard about the thing that would kind of vaguely punch you, which is why I haven't been to a 40X thing. Maybe I don't know, I shouldn't. I want to see a 40X of like
play them back using the camera
Citizen Kane.
It's a powerful learning tool, not to mention fun.
The graphics in Ultimate Football 95 are good, but not great. The players look very pixelated, very blocky, especially when viewed up close.
But even though they look blocky, they actually move pretty smoothly and realistically. The tackles are especially well done.
There's none of that style of reversing directions instantly. In Ultimate Football 95, if the player is moving in one direction, if he wants to go in the opposite direction, he has to physically turn around. It's very realistic.
Like, that's not very realistic.
And, why do you say that, Buffy?
Because he didn't fall down when he turned. Every time I turn around, I have to go, like, really, really slow, or I get dizzy and fall down. See, like, he just kept running.
Should I tell her?
Wouldn't. The depth of Ultimate Football 95 gives the player the ability to really get into the heart of the NFL.
Everything is customizable. You can edit the names of the teams, coaches, and players. You can edit all of them.
Okay, 40X My Dinner with Andre, where it just randomly punches you in the back, would be kind of sick.
And even the play itself. Custom plays can even be designed with the playbook editor.
You can also enter practice mode, where both teams will run whatever play you want them to, so you can try out your brilliant creations.
Microprose's Ultimate Football 95 may not be a perfect game, but it is a very good one.
You know, I broke up with my last boyfriend because of that same thing. You know, he had a good car, but it wasn't perfect. Woo! Come on, y'all, yell!
The graphics and sound are good, but what sets this game apart is the overall quality. Everything that is included in the package is done well.
While no single element is particularly groundbreaking, the whole thing makes for a very involving and fun game.
Whether you like football,
Really
action,
sucks that
or
they only
strategy,
used the woman in this issue to sound like a dipshit.
Has its act together like
Like,
Ultimate Football 95.
I'm not gonna. I'm just saying. You could have had her, be normal.
Everything in this game is solid. The gameplay is a lot of fun, the editing feature really lets the player get into the game, and the ability to view the action from anywhere on the field is a big plus.
The cons.
The graphics aren't the super sleek kind that everyone's used to, and the music gets old pretty fast.
We should also try FPS Football Pro, Front Page Football 95, and Unnecessary Roughness 95. I think she might have been normal in one review. God. All right. Next is Wetlands. Hold on.
Wetlands casts the player in the role. Wetlands is
There we go.
another in a line of games which blend movie cinematics with gameplay in order to create a kind of interactive movie feel. There have been a slew of games lately trying to accomplish this, and some go as far as hiring big-name talent like Mark Hamill and Malcolm McDowell in Wing Commander 3. If it's not done just right, using live actors can often break that suspension of belief that games rely so much on. New World Computing's Wetlands is taking a different approach to this style by using only animated characters and environments in the same vein as Siberia and Full Throttle. This way, everything looks and acts just like the designers envisioned. Wetlands casts the player in the role of John Cole, a freelance tracker who has the job of hunting down a madman who has the ability to control the weather to the point where he can destroy the world. This quest will take the player through 2 major cities and dozens of underwater facilities. Along the way, the player will have to use futuristic cycles, submarines, and other vehicles, along with exotic technology and different types of weaponry. This is not a static game. The storyline branches at different points and will take slightly different routes depending on the decisions made by the player. So instead of just completing an action sequence to get to the next cutscene, the player will have a few more choices during the game. Although this is a cinematic adventure, the action sequences by no means take a back seat to the story. The player moves through a 3D environment from a first-person perspective and must shoot targets like turrets and enemy vehicles along the way. The environment is beautifully rendered in ray-traced 3D graphics, which add even more depth and believability to the overall story. Unlike Doom, the computer controls the movement through the environment, but there are opportunities for the player to make course decisions. If a road branches off the course you are currently on, you can decide to take that road or not. So, just as the overall story can be affected by the player's decisions, the action sequences themselves must be correctly navigated to reach the end. Being a cinematic action-adventure, Wetlands has graphically advanced cutscenes sandwiched between the action sequences. The story of John Cole's trek after the bad guy is told through rotoscoped computer animation that rivals any cartoon on television today. Using computer-generated ray-traced 3D graphics combined with dynamic cell animation, the viewer gets to watch and listen as the story is played out like a major animated motion picture. Although the graphics are animated, Wetlands never gets to the point of being cartoonish. Wetlands is a look at a dark, gritty future, and John Cole shoots lots of bad guys along the way. It may technically be done in a cartoon style, but Wetlands is not a kid's game at all. The storyline is complex, and in certain points in the game, the player must solve puzzles as well as blast themselves out of tight situations. Wetlands is a cinematic action-adventure game which is suited for players of all experience and ability. The simplicity of the game allows anyone to quickly get into the action, but the different puzzles, intensity of the combat, and the complexity of the storyline should certainly suit gamers of any capability. Look for Wetlands at the end of September or early October.
Okay, chat, we've got one more left, and then we're free. What is it? Do you think? Oh, it's got the Bitmap Brothers. Here we go.
Strategy games are very popular these days. Titles like
it's ain't Walt
Warcraft, where the
Disney.
player has to manage his resources in order to build an army, have proven very successful. Virgin Interactive, along with the world-famous Bitmap brothers, are hoping to continue this trend with their upcoming release, simply titled Z. Z isn't much different from games like Warcraft and Command & Conquer in the way it plays. The player has a force comprised of different robots and weapons. The player issues orders by clicking on the forces he wants to move, then clicking on where he wants them to move to or who he wants them to attack. The robots are in charge of carrying out the orders, and sometimes they don't always perform the way you want. There is an element of individual personality injected into the troops. Z's attitude sets it aside from other games in the genre. It's a more humorous, lighthearted look at combat than other games on the market. For example, Commander Zod, the robot leader of the Red Army, is based on Robert I Love the Smell of Napalm in the Morning Duvall's character from Apocalypse Now, complete with sunglasses, military hat, and chomping on a cigar. But that's just the beginning, because Z includes a
the robot
bunch of
nipple was
robots
nice.
that just love to drink, swear, and drive tanks really fast in order to get wherever the fighting is. But despite all of its levity, Z is still a serious game. And even though the player does have to handle resource building and management, the game is more focused on combat and destruction. 5 different types of robots handle small arms, rocket launchers, troop carriers, tanks, and lots of other weapons of war. And when fighting does break out, the incredible graphics put on a giant pyrotechnic show highlighting the effects of the massive firepower each side is directing at each other. Gameplay in Z occurs on a planet where there are factories placed around the battlefield. These factories supply armies with additional troops and weapons. The army that is in control of the territory that the factory is located in receives the factory's production, meaning that the more territory an army holds, the faster production occurs. As far as strategy goes, an army can't play defensively and expect to win. All sides have to adopt an aggressive strategy in order to survive, which makes for lots of fighting and lots of things blowing up. The battlefields themselves are integral to the battles. The initial planet is a desert terrain, but the other planets have different types of combat areas, including jungles, lava-ridden volcanic regions, even ice worlds where heavy equipment can fall through the ice. There's even the possibility of hiding your troops under the water in order to ambush unsuspecting forces as they come by. The battlefields aren't just places where the fighting occurs, but they can become part of the fighting itself. Of course, there's going to be multiplayer capabilities included. I mean, what's the point of blowing up something if it doesn't belong to someone you personally know? Up to 4 people will be able to go at it over the network. And modem play will also be supported for 2-player devastation. Z is a real-time strategy game made for the Tim Allen and all of us. Forget all that building.
They had to do some kind of bit, okay.
For sissies. Z lets the player command his forces in an all-out slugathon to the finish with horrendous weaponry. For those of us who would rather launch a missile than build a gold mine, Z looks to be a gold mine itself. Expect Virgin to release it sometime in September.
And with that, we have finished another issue of Interactive Entertainment. Chad, how you feeling? Good? Bad? You kind of deflated from all the bits? I am. I've had the air sucked out of me. All right, let's hit exit here.
Coming soon to an interactive entertainment near you.
Yeah?
id Software changed the face of action games with Doom.
True.
Can they have the same impact with their next release, Quake?
Quake looks good.
Westwood Studios is hard at work on Lands of Lore 2, the sequel to its highly successful RPG, Lands of Lore.
Lands of Lore.
Know what to expect and when to expect it. Origin has enjoyed great success in RPGs with the Ultima series and in cinematic flight games with Wing Commander and its offspring. We'll check out their latest entry in the action market, Crusader No Remorse. And Pax Imperia was one of the most successful Mac strategy games ever, much to the chagrin of PC gamers. Luckily for them, Pax Imperia 2, a joint venture between Changeling Software and Blizzard Entertainment, will be available on the PC. We'll tell you what to look for. See you next time, Cyberfans.
Hey, Cyberfans, we are done. The next RetroPal stream is next week, because next week we are doing the Patron Request Gauntlet, so get hyped for that. Anyway, shutdown time. Yeah. Thank you, Xena. Take us out, girl. Yeah, we're taking this week off to prep for the Patron Request Gauntlet, get games ready and all that good stuff. So no RetroPal streams this week, but you did have me and Interactive Entertainment. All right, so I'm going to be streaming next week. I forget if I'm doing fall previews or something else. But also next week, I'm doing the patron request gauntlet. If you want to request a game for me and Danny to play, go to patreon.com/retropals. And if you pitch in $5 a month, you get to pick a game for us to play. So do consider it. All right. All those bits. Whew. Let's find someone to raid. Someone without bits. Let's do Adam. Raiden Adam. Let's go. I love their new model. It's really cute. All right, folks. Thank you all so very much for watching. I'll see you next week with more retro streams, multimedia, and all that good stuff. See ya in a week. In a few days. A week. Yeah, a week. Bye-bye.